Welcome to Latvia and welcome to Riga and welcome to the most hardcore drift event of the year. After an insane start to the season in Płock in Poland and then a very unpredictable event in Hungary, the Drift Masters European Championship is ready to once again stake its claim that has become the Champions League of European drifting. Right now we stand here in one of the craziest layouts of a drift event anywhere in the world. But before we send cars to it, why don't we give you a little sneak peek behind the scenes of what makes this place just that little bit insane. So before we go to qualifying, let's check out this amazing track here in Riga in Latvia. It is one of the showpiece events of the year, and it's easy to see why, because it is absolutely insane. Drifting on any level is a pretty crazy sport, but here things are just taken up a notch. We're here at the start line, which is set beautifully in the middle of a forest, where the guys will start here in the lead lane and take this sort of a slowing area in the chicane to obviously allow the chase car to build up a little bit of speed. Then it's absolutely full throttle down to that first corner, which if you can imagine the speed they're going to carry, you can barely see from here. And right down there is one of the most challenging and insane corners in world drifting. So I'm here at the initiation point, or the point where the cars start to break rear wheel traction. And it really sorts the men from the boys, because at over 100 miles an hour, you have to trust your machine and you've got to be confident, because you're heading into this gradual first corner that is completely blind. Not for the faint-hearted. This first corner on this Riga circuit is all about threading the needle at full maximum attack. Judges are expecting these drivers to keep their rear wheels in this outer zone right to the edge of the circuit, and don't put enough commitment in, you're going to drop inside wheels on the inner zone. Now, one thing to note, however, though, is that your full throttle, full commitment. If you make one small error, there is no runoff whatsoever. One mistake here, and that's going to be the end of your car. So after a full throttle first corner, well, it's pretty much the same story as you come into the second. You stay, if you're on the correct line, on full maximum throttle into our next transition. And of course, as you can see, not much runoff here either. Get this wrong and you're even closer to those perilous outside concrete walls. This is a risky place to get it wrong. After that first transition and our second outer zone, well, it's an interesting one. About a meter off the inside curb is where you emerge in front of the packed Riga grandstand at full throttle on this inner zone 1. This is a tricky part of the track, because if you go too tight, it messes your lineup for the rest of the run. So you got to be pinpoint accurate while you're still at full throttle. Inner zone 1 brings you right out to outer zone 3 here. And as you come here at full throttle, you have to notice that, hey, it's a different surface. Much grippier here. Drivers saying this is where the horsepower in the car really comes into play. Not have enough grunt under the bonnet, well, you're going to struggle here to get out to this outer zone. If you get it perfect, well, you can even take a cheeky little look into the grandstand at the adoring fans waiting for you to head in to the next technical section on this Riga circuit. After a transition in front of the sold-out Riga grandstand, drivers once again end up here at outer zone 4. What's not noticeable from where we're standing right now is the huge bump here as they head through, unsettling the suspension of the car. And remember, we talked about initiating at full throttle. Well, guess what? All the way to here, you're still on full throttle. There is no other circuit in the world where you're on throttle for that length of time. It's going to be pretty tough on engines, and it's going to be tough on concentration levels too. So you would think after 3 full throttle maximum attack corners, drivers would get a break. They get a chance to decelerate at some point on this course, and they do. Of course, this being the Champions League of drifting and 20 nations competing for that prize, the deceleration zone is just as scary, because when you decelerate from all of that speed you've built up, it's towards an immovable concrete wall. And as you can see, plenty of drivers already getting up close and personal. This is one of the most technical parts of the track that's certainly going to challenge our drivers throughout the weekend. This track is just as much about survival as it is about competition. 3 full throttle corners, a deceleration zone onto a concrete wall, and then you've got one last burst to the finish where you must run the rear end of your car into this last outer zone. If you survive all that, if you've got the testicular fortitude to complete this circuit, you'll be rewarded by passing through this finish line and knowing you've just completed a run of one of the craziest tracks in world drifting. This place is insane. I'm here with Bagsy, and he is eagerly anticipating the start of qualifying here in Riga. Bagsy, it's been a pretty tough season so far. You guys have hit a couple of walls, your team's been pretty busy, but how insane has the driving and the tracks been so far?
Yeah, it's been incredible. The journey to round 3 hasn't exactly gone smooth sailing for us, but that's kind of Drift Masters right now. You've just got to go all out, balls to the wall, and just pin it and hope for the best, you know, and if you get lucky, you move on. And we've had a few challenging battles. They've not come easy, and we're fighting through. We're excited that we're at Riga. We've got our last year's car with a new engine. We're really excited to really stretch its legs here, and hopefully with the new equipment, we feel that we're in a lot better place.
Is the track as scary as it looks?
It's worse. It's actually worse. It's just one of those tracks where you've got to be getting the first outside clipping point perfectly, and then that kind of sets you up for the rest of the track. But you've got to come in with more speed than you're probably comfortable with to make the rest of the clipping points. If you don't commit to that first outside zone, you're never going to make clip 4, and the rest of it just doesn't flow after that. So you've got to carry that momentum through turn 1, and yeah, go around that first corner blind and just hope that the rest of the track looked like it did the run before.
This track is very deceiving. I think a lot of people watching on TV or watching through videos, they don't realize how narrow it is, especially through the first section. And there's walls maybe 2-3 meters away from you, and you're entering there at 90, 100 miles per hour. It's a track for the brave. And that's just how it is. A lot of experience counts here. It's very technical, which normally you don't have. The technical tracks are normally slower tracks, but this has the speed and the technical side of things as well. So it's difficult for guys that haven't been here before, but yeah, it's a good challenge.
This is actually scary. I said it before, you have to put all of the interest in this to do it. Don't care about car, speed. I'm 31 years old with 2 kids, and going here at 180 kilometers an hour into first corner. Yeah, it should be scary.
When you get it right, it's such a rewarding track as a driver, because you can do the first 3 corners on full throttle without lifting, while on transitions and big angle, big speed, big smoke. It's an amazing feeling as a driver, and you got like 3 big grandstands packed out for the main event. It's one of my favorite events of the year, and it's great to be back here again.
I'm here with a brand new driver for the Drift Masters European Championship, and although most drivers come a pretty long way to be here, they don't come from different continents. So we are here with Ahmed Daham, the Red Bull athlete who has come all the way from the Middle East. He is one of the most respected drivers in the Middle East, but now, for the first time ever, competing in Europe. How did this all come about?
Thank you, Dave, for the introduction, first of all. And I've been planning to come to Europe for the past 2-3 years, to be honest. But this year, after seeing Drift Masters, I just decided I have to be there. So I shipped the car after round 1, after I watched round 1. I was hoping to be there for round 2, but the car didn't arrive on time. We are here in Riga now. I'm loving the track, the atmosphere. It's like one of the best rounds I've been in my life. And I can't wait for today and see what happens.
So incredibly to think that you're obviously a very decorated driver in the Middle East and you're well known there on the drift scene, but here in Europe, for those who don't know, you've picked up some accolades in the last couple of years, a couple of championship wins, even a Guinness Book of World Records.
Well, yeah, I've been the Middle East champion for the past 3 years. I've done a Guinness World Record with James Dean. I've won the car park drift for 2 years in a row. But over here it's different. Like the drivers, the experience over here is way much more than over there. I think my car is well prepared, but yeah, I'm here to get some experience and see what we can do.
Well, fantastic. It's a big step into the unknown for you, but from watching you in previous years, I think you're going to enjoy it more than ever. We wish you the best of luck on track.
Thank you, Dave.
I'm here with Tor Kavia. I nicknamed you Thor at the first round, and if there ever was a track to put the hammer down, it's here in Riga, where it is full throttle everywhere. You've had a great season so far. It looked impressive in Poland, very impressive in Hungary, but this is a different place altogether. Have you driven this track before?
No, it's the first time here in Riga, and the track is mental. It's so fast, and it's hammer time, to be fair, yeah.
Now, of course, I mean, someone's like us, full throttle first corner, full throttle second corner, third. You build these cars with a lot of horsepower, and you build them to do crazy stuff, but I don't think they've ever been under as much stress to be on full throttle as they are here. It must be a very strange feeling, being on full throttle for that long.
Yeah, it's like being on the dyno and you're doing the rev limiter for 30 seconds. It's crazy. Some people would say you shouldn't do that, but we're doing it and it's fun.
So, of course, you're having a little look at the championship now. You're doing pretty strong at the moment, but obviously doing the best out of all the Scandinavian drivers that are here as well. There's a lot of local guys here, though. Christiansen, Siglite, this is their back garden. Those guys are going to be pretty tough to beat this weekend.
Yeah, the local guys, been watching them in the practice and everything, and they're crazy. They are mental and they're going faster than everyone out there, so I think we need to step up our game.
Well, look, we're wishing you all the best, and we're looking for some more Thor moments this weekend. Best of luck out there, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm here with Christoph Spoos, of course, now one of the most successful drivers in the Formula Drift circle, but you are the homegrown hero, and from here in Latvia. In fact, HG Gay, based here at this circuit, this is your home event. But there's 20 nations coming here to your hometown this weekend to try and take some trophies away. Exciting times?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. So strong lineup, 70 drivers. Don't remember when it was the last time when we had so many drivers. So really excited, yeah. Glad that everybody excited about our home track and everybody enjoy it, and it's fast and enjoyable, and it's in the center of the city. So it's really nice to be here, yeah.
So, of course, it's not like any other track in Europe. It's a little bit crazy. Full throttle through 3 corners, concrete walls, no runoff. You've done a lot of laps here, and you still have crashed a few times here. What are the guys that are coming here this weekend going to really have to overcome to be successful?
Well, yeah, you have to stay focused, and commitment definitely will win the race. Yeah, it is my home track, but anyways, every single run is a challenge still for me. No one is genius, no one is perfect, so everybody is making mistakes. Whoever makes less mistakes wins, and yeah, but this track really requires high concentration and a lot of commitment, and I would say balls.
Well, look, we're looking forward to seeing this incredible machine on track for qualifying, and we're looking forward to seeing you try and defend Latvian pride this weekend. Best of luck out there, Christoph. We'll see you soon. So we've introduced our drivers and got their thoughts on round 3. We're finishing up practice, and we're about to go to qualifying, where 70 drivers will be whittled down to the top 32. It's almost time for Riga, baby. I'm going to make my way up to the tower to join my good friend Ian Waddington. We're going to talk you through all the action as it goes down today. It's going to be insane. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Riga and welcome to stop number 3 on the Drift Masters European Championship Tour. My name is Dave Egan. I'm joined in the commentary box, as always, by my good friend Ian Waddington, and we're here to talk you through all of the insane action that's about to go down today. We started in Poland, we continued the run in Hungary, and right now we are preparing for one of the craziest drift events I think we're ever going to witness, Ian. What an amazing place, what an amazing city, what an amazing event.
Listen, you've just said it all, Dave. Crazy, amazing. This place is everything that it was hyped up to be. This event is the pinnacle of the championship. It's the fastest, most dangerous, most exciting, most attention-grabbing circuit we've been to yet. And I mean, these guys have been absolutely sending it since practice yesterday morning.
And I mean, what an amazing occasion. You have 21 nations represented, not just from Europe. Now we're stretching out into the continents beyond because drivers want that challenge to go up against the best in the world. And they're all here this weekend and all aiming for a space in that top 32 main event later today. It's early in the morning. It's the Ian and Dave Breakfast Club because we are up bright and early for some incredible action. From my perspective, I think I've never been so highly tuned into practice because every run has you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, listen, these guys are sending these cars in at over 100 miles an hour. That's 180 kilometres an hour into a blind turn on camber, putting the rear wheel of the car, Dave, on the edge of the circuit. I mean, this is pinpoint accuracy stuff. And like you said earlier in the VT, just 2 meters and there's a solid concrete wall. There is no room for error at this circuit.
I'll tell you one thing, Ian. I'm glad we're up here in the commentary box and not having to get in behind the wheel of one of those cars because, as Nigel Caspar said, and as you mentioned in the pre-show, it's for the brave.
Yeah.
This place takes no prisoners, no runoff, concrete walls, 100-mile-an-hour entries. You build these machines to do incredible things, but now they're expected to do incredible things. Even just to get a perfect run on this track is an achievement. And a lot of guys saying it's not about competition, it's just about survival today. Yeah. We are pumped up and ready to send cars here, and the sun is shining. Some threatening of rain later on today. You know what? I think even God himself is not going to spoil the occasion because he wants to see who's about to take this one to the podium. Of course, round 1, we had an incredible final. Conor Shanahan, 14 years of age, took on the world champion and beat him at the round 1. It set the precedent for incredible things to happen for the rest of the year. We went to Hungary and, of course, the heavens opened. And it is, of course, Grzegorz Hipki who managed to take down the world champion in the final. This is a championship where anything can happen, an equal opportunity for the best in the business to come out here and prove themselves.
Exactly, like you say, prove themselves. And you know what? There was a lot of bad talk from a lot of drivers coming into this round saying, you know what, Grzegorz Hipki and those guys with the E30s, they're not strong. Those cars are not suited to this fast circuit. Well, you know what, Dave? Yesterday in practice, those guys laid it out there and said, we're carrying momentum from Hungary. We want the win. We want to prove that Poland is the strongest country out there, you know. And
of course, we've got that Nations Championship running in the background. Ireland just ahead of Poland right now, and another couple of countries now starting to climb up those ranks. Incredible to think our round 1 winner, Conor Shanahan, goes out onto this circuit with the least amount of horsepower on the grid.
Yeah,
Can you imagine? At over 500 horsepower. Where has this sport gone, Ian? It's gone into the stratosphere when it comes to machinery and builds. And right now we are preparing the last of our track preparations before qualifying. Look, anything can happen for the next couple of hours. We hope you guys tuning in at home are ready for some insane automotive warfare. And of course, we're going to be introducing our judges who are going to be basically talking you through everything that these guys are going to be trying to achieve on track. Now, if you're new to drifting, it's a little bit different than any other kind of motorsport. It's not about a start line and a finish line. It's all about style, angle, and speed, and collecting those clipping zones which are painted on the track. It's about keeping your car sideways at all times also. And sideways at upwards of 100 miles an hour is no joke. Our judges for this event are going to be David Callas, Kieran Hines, and Kevin O'Connell. Those guys are going to be basically having to whittle over 70 drivers down to just 32 here in the qualifying sessions. And of course, to find out what this circuit is all about, what makes it so challenging, we're going to go over to our judge, Kevin O'Connell, who's going to explain everything to us.
Thank you, Dave. So this is extremely high speed track, so we want the drivers to accelerate up as fast as they possibly can to the initiation point. Initiation point starts at the start of outer zone 1, where we want the drivers to do either preferably a clutch kick or feint entry. A little dab of the handbrake will be okay, but we will mark the drivers down slightly. We want the drivers to fill that rear outer zone 1 all the way to the very finish. Then from that finish, we want the drivers to do a nice fast transition back onto outer zone 2, completely filling that outer zone touch and go. Then one of the most crucial parts of this, the next part of this track is inner clip 1, where we don't want the drivers to hit the curb on the inside there, which would be the natural line, but we want them to actually be out about a metre from that curb. Then we want the drivers then to go to fill then out onto outer zone 3. And then from there we want the drivers to do a nice fast transition back out of outer zone 4, completely filling outer zone 5. Then this is where the track really starts to get technical, coming into the deceleration zone and into outer zone 5. We really want the drivers to fill that outer zone and rub the rear of the car out off of outer zone 5. Once they go through outer zone 5, then we want them to get back into the middle of the track. Nice, quick, snappy transition back onto the wall then and finish over the line, clipping outer zone 6.
Kevin O'Connell and Dave, like he says, full throttle circuit, very, very exciting stuff, very dangerous stuff as well.
What he didn't say anything about was how scary it is.
You know,
okay?
yeah.
You should get at least 10 points for just even attempting this circuit, in my opinion. It is an incredible circuit, and we're about to see 70 of the best from 21 nations take to it. But what I want to also know is, what's the criteria behind judging? How does it work? So we're going to have a little look at that criteria and basically let you guys know essentially what these guys are trying to achieve. So of course, each driver will complete 2 non-consecutive scored runs. The highest score after both runs will count as a driver's final score. Each run is scored out of a maximum of 100 by our 3 judges, Kevin, David and Kieran. The average score from all 3 judges will count as a driver's final run score. Drivers will be deducted points for momentary loss of drift, understeer, incorrect line, dropping 1 wheel off the designated circuit, or significant contact with those outer concrete walls. Drivers will be rewarded for extreme entry, increased speed, fluidity, smooth transitions, correct judging line, precision and proximity to the outer clipping zones. Drivers will score a 0 for complete loss of drift, spinning out, dropping 2 wheels off the circuit, or extreme understeer, and of course driving a section of the course, because Ian, it's a drift competition. You can't just be out there driving around. That's going to lose you a lot of scores. And on top of that, we want to have a little look at, okay, what does that perfect run look like? How does it feel? What does it look like? Well, due to the advancements in technology over the last couple of years and the amazing stuff being done online by virtual gamers, we can actually see what one of those runs looks like. That perfect 100 run, Ian. So we're going to have a quick look at just how it looks. A little less scary when you're in a computer game, but they're going first, second, third, fourth, full throttle through the gears, and a little weight transfer on there half of the circuit. That's outer zone 1. Look how close that is to the edge of the grass.
And look how blind it is, Dave. You can see there just how unnerving it must be entering that corner.
Then to touch and go on zone 1, and then an inside clip. That's about 1.5 meters in real life off that clip. Then it's full throttle as you look up towards the packed grandstand. Another full throttle transition. Hit that, and there's a little bump here which you might not see as much of in the game. And then look at that deceleration into outside zone 4 on that outer wall. That is what's going to sort the men from the boys today. And then it is another outer zone across the finish line at outer zone 5. That is how it's done. From my perspective, Ian, this is, I mean, we saw a lot of good drivers in practice look like they were suffering a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, listen, a lot of guys not really able to judge the line correctly, and for me it came down to the commitment needed into that first turn. A lot of guys just didn't have the pace or the bravery, should I say, to carry their car into that blind corner on full throttle at over 100 miles an hour. And what that does to your line, like Kevin O'Connell says, completely messes up the rest of the run, and you will score a very, very low score in qualifying if you do not get the commitment on that first turn 100% right.
And of course, a low score is no good here.
No.
If you've got 21 nations, the best, we've got over 20 champions on that grid, meaning that those guys, only half of them are going to qualify. I mean, look at the travel and the expense these guys have got to get here. Then you got to throw a car in at that kind of speed, and if you make any error, 1, you could lose your car. 2, you might not qualify and you're going to be a spectator for the rest of the day. And right now on track, we've got some of our last drivers finishing. They get 1 practice run this morning. It's not a lot. They did a lot of practice yesterday, but this morning they get 1 practice run and then it's straight into qualifying. I'm seeing some pressure starting to build on some of our more experienced drivers, because a lot of new names coming into the sport, not drivers they're not so familiar with, and that's going to be playing with them, saying, look, we're all very good here, the 70 of us. When that cutoff on that score in qualifying could be in the high 70s, 80s, it could be anywhere.
Exactly. You know what, like you say, that uncertainty, like we see Torani Kavir at round 1 come in and step on the 3rd place on the podium. When we see that stacked grid, you know, I know that guy for a while now, and even I don't know if I could see him in that position, and look where he came, and look how much presence he's brought. And you know what? His line from yesterday to this morning is unbelievable now. He's carrying the same pace, the same speed, the same angle as James Dean. And James Dean, we know that guy's been around here more times than anyone else. So, you know what? The level is just unbelievable
And
today.
I think what I've kind of estimated is at least half of the grid have never done this track before.
Yeah.
So that's going to play into it because they have no experience. They know they're up against guys that may have a couple of runs on this before, especially on a competitive level. And of course, you've got the Latvians.
Yeah.
Yanis Iglite, he's won here before. Christoph Blues, he's won here before. Those guys, this is their local track. They're going to feel more confident than anybody coming in here. But as I mentioned in the VT, Christoph has crashed here quite a few times too. So it goes to show, even if you do know the lay of the land, anything or any mistake you make and anything goes wrong in that car, you can be in for a bad time very, very quickly. Ian, I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
I'm really excited. And as far as I'm concerned, we're starting early because we have a long day ahead of us. We head at 3:30, well, in around 3:30 Eastern European Central Time for our Top 32 Battles main event. We're going to have a crazy show here. We're going to have cheerleaders. We're going to have stunt bikes. We're going to have more horsepower than you should ever assemble in one place at one time. It is an ecological disaster about to happen here for the next couple of hours. But I'm looking very forward to seeing who steps up. And as you mentioned before, Ian, every round we've seen a couple of new drivers come through. Round one, it was Conor Shanahan. That youngster from Ireland took on his mentor who lives just a half mile down the road in front of over 10,000 Polish fans screaming his name. He took down the current Formula Drift champion, James Dean. Then we moved to, it just changed around in Hungary. We had Juha Poitalaxo just look unstoppable there. Dragos Hipke look unstoppable. And James Dean and Conor Shanahan, those guys took some bumps and some hits on the way there. Still in the mix. But James Dean does arrive here as our championship leader with Conor Shanahan in second place. But Conor Shanahan, to me, looked like he was suffering a little bit from a lack of power out there.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to mention it, and I don't really like to mention people's downfalls or how they're not looking too good on the circuit. But you know what? For me, there's a lot of guys out there, like the Shanahan brothers, not looking that strong. And you know what, for them, especially Conor Shanahan coming into this, like you say, in second place in the championship, to not look strong or not feel confident on this circuit is not a good place to be, especially going into qualifying. Like you say, Dave, with 60 plus drivers.
I mean, if I was in one of those cars right now, which I wouldn't be because it's far too dangerous for me to be involved, I'm preferring standing back a little bit on this one. But if I was sitting there, they know they've got to pull their best run out. There's absolutely no possibility of backing down here, and especially with this circuit, because when we go to a lot of other circuits, Ian, how you approach that first corner can sometimes just be bravery. You can decide to go in a little faster than everybody else to give yourself the best option of getting a high score. Here, you have no option but to go as fast as you can, which means that if you even waver a small bit or even try and get a little nervous, you're going to mess up the entire run for yourself. Is that the way it should be? I think at the top level of European drifting, there should be no room for error.
No, there shouldn't be no room for error. Like you say, we've assembled some of the best drivers from around the world, so that is what we wanted. That is what we've produced, And like you say, for Ahmed Daham to come over and ship his car and say he watched one round. He watched the first round and was like, lads, pack the car. We're going to take these guys on. And to come out here and then say how good the level is. And like you say, he's a multiple UAE champion, so...
And again, a guy who holds a Guinness Book of World Records. He had a huge dogfight with James Dean in the Middle East in the Oman Drift Championship in the sort of the off-season for European drifting. In the winter, which is actually their summer, or one way or the other. But they had, they went to every final, and Daham was not able to take down James Dean. He has shipped his car all the way from Jordan to be here to take down James Dean. So there's a lot of rivalries building out there as well, and a lot of guys that I'm guaranteeing that a lot of you guys watching at home may not be familiar with these drivers at the start of today. By the end of today, I think I'm going to create some new heroes.
Yeah, for sure. Like we did at round one, like the Conor Shanahan and Torani Kavir, new guys coming through and just proving their worth in the championship. And you know what? Yeah, like you say, Dave, I think that could happen today.
Well, I mean, if you look at the progression of the sport, Ian, 5 years ago, 300 horsepower in a drift car, on any tires was an amazing achievement. Now we're walking around that pit area, and we are seeing the fastest stock chassis motorsport in the world. These guys running upwards of 600, 700, 800, 900 horsepower. The cars are machined from the ground up to be a tire shredding killer.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're not messing around. These cars are the best they can be, and like you say, stock chassis cars with the best components on them. Big horsepower engines, and I mean big, I'm talking 1,000 horsepower engines in drift cars. Big sticky semi-slick tyres, sequential gearboxes, quick change differentials. These guys aren't messing around. They're bringing the best equipment to the championship, and it just goes to show that the level they're at, they know they can't turn up here. Like you say, not feeling confident, not being on their best game, and definitely not bringing the best piece of equipment that you can.
Exactly, and if you're new to the sport, I'm going to try to explain to you in I'm a very layman's terms guy. I'll tell you what a drift car is all about. Take a WRC rally car, right? Take out the engine, take the engine from a drag car, put that in, and then take away the drive from the front two wheels and increase the steering angle. And you might have an idea of what these
we're
guys are
heading
doing.
for, yeah.
I mean, the wheel speed. I mean, I think Matt Carter was looking at his speedo yesterday. The wheel speed on his car through the first corner was 155 miles an hour. The rear wheels are spinning at.
It's just insane.
That doesn't. And that is the wheel speed to that first corner. 100 mile an hour is the actual clock speed.
Yep.
That is a scary moment. And again, if you drop a wheel on the grass, if you do it, you're going to go into that wall. Remember, this is not big budget racing. A lot of these guys are privateers. They own their own cars. They've put their heart and soul into them. Imagine one mistake and all that's gone. You don't build a car back up very quickly again. And these guys take a hit to that wall today. I don't know if we're going to see them for the rest of the season.
No, I mean, listen, we see some very, very hard hits in Hungary. Some of them guys took their cars to the wall. James Dean narrowly avoiding a big accident. We see Enver Haskasaps take that car to the wall. The guys jammed, got that car back together again. It looks phenomenal. And you know what? Unfazed, he is one guy that has been firing this car on this circuit all day and all day yesterday. And he looks confident. You know, he could be an unknown entity for me this weekend.
I think the entire place is an unknown entity right now because, of course, this is the party central of the Drift Masters European Tour. I'm even surprised some of these guys made it this far after the last couple of days they've had. But it looks like we are ready to go almost to qualifying here. We're going to take our cameras to the start line and start introducing some of these incredible drivers representing 21 nations. And some guys that are a little bit unfamiliar to us too, Ian.
Yeah, exactly. So some newcomers to this round of the championship, like you say, Dave. And as we can see on the start line, we have Kalin Siorten.
Yeah, the Romanian representing Monster Energy and Tri-Ace tires, 2JZ, 650 horsepower, all the bells and whistles. You know, it's got the quick change rear end. That's very like a drag car or a NASCAR. And this is a guy that we haven't seen in competition before yet, Ian. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. He looked very good in practice.
Yeah, listen, this guy come all the way from Romania, Romanian champion. He turned up this weekend, big grin on his face. It was like he'd won the lottery, Dave. He turned up, he was in the paddock with all these guys, smiling from ear to ear. And he went out there, and for me, I've only seen this guy drive a few times before at smaller, slower circuits. He threw that car on the line, and his whole pit crew were raising the roof with excitement. So everybody's hyped for this, and as Kalin sits on the line, we are just waiting to get the orders from all of our marshals here to make sure the track is good to go.
Yeah, bit of cleanup on the track. There was a couple of guys going pretty hard into those tire bales, dragging some gravel onto the track. Those marshals working diligently. It looks like he's going to get the green light. We have action underway here in Riga as our first driver, Kalin Siorten, takes to the circuit, the Romanian driver, into that first corner, and watch the speed through the gears, third gear, fourth gear. Big initiation, but dropping into that inside zone.
Yeah, just drops out of that outside zone, like you say, Dave, but makes it to clip 2. And on a very inside line there, you can see the front wheels way over that box. But it manages to get it on a nice line, just drops that outer zone. Oh, and shuts it down, Dave.
Yeah, it looks like he had a little error there. There's a little bump there. It's very hard to see.
It's unnerving. You can see when the car comes over that little bump that the drivers get a little unnerved. There is a solid concrete wall there, so you know what, I would be worried as well. So we'll make that official. That will be a 0 as an incompleted run, I do believe.
It was a straight, and I'm not sure will the judges be as harsh as a 0. There was definitely a big straighten there.
A big straighten, yeah.
And by straighten we mean a stop of drifting, essentially. Yeah. You know, just didn't keep that car on angle. That bump unsettles all 4 corners of that car, so a lot of guys will back off there if they think it's going to throw them into that concrete wall. And impressive stuff, though, from the first couple of sections from Siorten, but will it hurt his score?
So as we wait for the score to drop in from our judges, and he drops it, he does get a score at 26.
You were harsh on him,
I was very harsh, yeah. You know what? That's the level I'm at, Dave. That's where we're at in the championship
you're
right
setting
now.
that bar. Okay, next up on the line, we have got a BMW E92. It is from the Estonian Christiansen. And another car, well, it's a 1 Series, my mistake. And this car is another crazy build.
A phenomenal build, Dave. Yeah, BMW Turbo V8, 4-litre V8 under the bonnet. Running wide swept suspension.
Yeah, comes through the gears. He initiates, just tries to get that car out. You can see that white line. They want drivers in, but he's dropping into the inside line, a little bit offline, but getting back on it for outer zone 2. And the speed they carry here through this center section is simply breathtaking.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little bit too much pace, though, Dave, as he struggles to get to some of them outer zones.
Yeah,
Manages to get it back online though now and starts to tidy it up as he takes it into that final outer zone and over the line.
But as often we say, Ian, that it's sometimes just to settle the nerves, guys will go out there on their first. Remember, they get 2 runs.
Yep.
It's the best of those 2 runs that count. So on the first run, sometimes, nervously they'll say, let's just put points on the board. Let's not get a 0. Let's not leave ourselves with all the pressure for the second run. But with the level of drivers that are here this weekend, Ian, I'm expecting the scores to be pretty high.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no safe runs. There's no way you can go out there and put that car safely through that circuit. You need to be full commitment, full tilt, like we say, Dave. And yeah, scoring big points here is where it's going to be in that top 32 as we await the score to drop in there from Christian.
Yeah, Christian from Estonia puts a 56.3 on the board. So mid-pack score, something to settle the nerves, as you mentioned, Ian. He'll be happy just to have that car in one piece also. We move it along to another very interesting build.
Yeah, Linus Fredriksson from Sweden.
My mistake. It looks like we have Ingus Jakobsen on the line, the Latvian driver. So here's the first of our local heroes to take to the circuit in a very unusual E34 BMW Turbo V8 with Wisefab, and even has livery running straight up the windscreen. I'm not sure if that's a ploy. Maybe he doesn't want to see how scary this track is. Maybe he wants to just do it by the force.
Yeah, the less he can see, the better. As he comes off the line now, Ingus Jakobsen needs to fire that car into the outer zone. You can see it there denoted by the white line, the solid white line all the way around that first zone. Keeps the back wheels in it, Dave, so not bad. But gets to clipping point 2 very early, so he's going to make 3 very, very early. And yeah, he does. He drops wheels over that white box.
And as you remember, some of the drivers saying if you have the right line here, you do not need to use the handbrake at all on this circuit. So if you see a little bit of locking of the rear wheels, that is a little bit of an error.
It's a correction, yeah. They're adjusting the car on the line, yeah.
Still a solid run, though.
Yep.
From Ingus there, let's see what he scores from the judges. And again, this is just our first round of qualification. And you know what? This is the boring part, by the way, Ian. When they get to the battles, these guys go head to head later today, inches from each other and those outer zones. That's when it just gets really heated.
Yeah, that's when the excitement really starts leveling up, like you say, Dave. So
you think about this football match, this would be kicking a ball against the wall at this point, and then we go full on head to head.
Seeing if you can kick the ball.
Well, that's pretty much it. Or the wall.
Or the wall.
as the case may be. We await the score for Ingus Jakobsen, first of our Latvian drivers. 67.3 on the board for him. First position so far.
Yeah, as we move it along to the next driver on the line, there will be Bartosz Austalowski.
So Bartosz Austalowski, this is an incredible story. An injury sustained, Ian. What an incredible man. This man drives the car with no use of his arms.
Yeah, you can just see him there shutting the door with his foot. This guy actually drives the car using his left foot, steers the car, changes the gears with his other foot, and the car specially adapted for Bartosz.
And still 580 horsepower LS3, and of course using his shoulder for the handbrake and for changing gears. This is an incredible achievement.
Amazing.
An amazing showing of never give up. If you love a sport, make it work for you whatever way you can. But this guy is a sensation. However, coming a little bit offline there, and again, despite his disadvantages, he will be judged as everyone else. That's how drifting works. So, you know what? Putting a score on the board there, but I've just been admiring his ability all weekend, and just that never say die attitude. I love that.
Yeah, he's a very courageous guy, and yeah, he will score a 0. He did drop wheels off circuit, but you know what, for me, it was just he carried a little bit too much speed into outer zone 4. If he could have slowed that car down, that would have been a good run. Up next on the line, though, Dave, we do have a very local guy.
Yeah, probably on the grid today, ranked probably second highest in the world, essentially, with his current run of form in Formula Drift. It is Kristaps Blues, the Latvian Formula Drift driver and co-owner of HGK, which is based here at the circuit. And he's a man who knows his way around here.
Yeah, he definitely does, as he fires that E46 BMW in Master LS. Look at this, Dave, from Kristaps Blues as he fires that car and absolutely nailing that qualifying line. Doesn't get out to that outer zone 4 and keeps the car absolutely pinned. Slows it down. Oh,
what a little shutdown.
Shuts it down, yeah. Manages to get it going again, but big error there from Kristaps Blues.
We were talking to Kristaps yesterday. This is a car they built as an experimental chassis 7 years ago or so to start preparing the build of his Formula Drift cars in the USA. So this is kind of going back to the old school for Kristaps. And he said the car is too fun not to drive, but it looked like he had some mechanical issues there as he came through that last section. I think the judges will be swaying almost towards a 0 there.
Yeah. So judges are deliberating this one, talking about the score. Like I say, me being very harsh earlier, saying that a little straighten is a 0, but like I say, that's how I feel the level we're at, you know. And
I think we've expected that now, and,
yeah.
I think, you know, you are very harsh, Ian, as we know,
Very
as a human in general. But I mean, we were getting food last night. Ian, he just threw the plate back at the woman. You know, that's kind of how he is. But you come across right nicely on the live stream.
And
Okay,
there we go,
0,
yeah.
Christoph Blues is going to be jumping into 4th place, but that's because no one else has scored. He now is under pressure. This is his home circuit, and he sits on a 0 after the first run.
Yeah, he has got a lot to prove right now. As we move back to the line, Francesco Conti, the Italian.
Yep, moving things to a very unusual chassis. This is actually an S13 that looks like an S14, has an S14 front and rear end, but it runs a VR38, which is the engine from the R35 GTR. Crazy build, 800 horsepower, and a man who's got a lot of experience out there.
Yeah, a European driver, been on the scene a very, very long time. And look at that line as Francesco Conti gets that car all the way out to the outer zone 2. Starts to pull it back in for 3. Look at that, nice and deep into 4. Slows the car down at the acceleration zone. And this is where drivers getting it wrong. You see the car there bump over that bump.
It just looks like a little bit of you know, hesitation.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we all would hesitate if we're throwing our pride and joy at a concrete wall after all that speed built up. But it does look like these guys just playing it a little safe at the start, and we expect that they will know from their teams what the score expected as things drop in towards the end. So I don't think those safe runs are going to matter much later in the day when, you know, you're going home unless you put a top score in. So that is a 59 from Francesco Conti. The Italian jumps into 2nd position so far. A long way to go yet, though. Next up, another HGK build. You think about it, drift cars now running full carbon Kevlar outer skins and bodies. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, and this car built right here by Christos Blues' team. HGK built Harold Valdemar, the Estonian, winner of the 2017 HGK Drift Challenge here at Riga, as he fires that car in.
He's currently 2nd in the Baltic Drift Championship. This is an LS6 600. Look at the aggression.
Yeah, look at this from Harold Valdemar. This guy bringing it, absolutely nailing that outer line, Dave, getting that car pinned all the way out. Look at the line from Harold Valdemar, running at the back of the car on the wall. This is going to be a big score. Stands on the accelerator, perfect transition. Almost over-rotates over the line.
Almost got a little too excited towards the end.
Stuff there from Harold Valdemar.
Yeah. Almost pride before a fall towards the end, and he managed to keep that thing together. Incredible run. It goes to show how much experience he's got on this circuit, how aggressively he went into that first corner.
Yeah, unbelievable aggression. And you know what? It put it on the line and carried the momentum all the way through. And it just goes to show, you get that first corner absolutely pinpoint perfect. It pulls you all the way through to the line. And the score drops in for Harold Valdemar. Will it be a big one?
That is a 84.3, puts him into 1st position, and he looks as cool on the scoreboard as he does behind the wheel of that car. Incredible stuff from the Estonian, and he now heads to the top of the leaderboard. Next up, Andreas Chewbacca from Lithuania. He is the Lithuanian champion, so we're expecting big things here. He's driving an E30 BMW S54 Turbo, and he's only got 1,000 horsepower in, so
just
he's
1,000.
underpowered here.
And look
at
this guy.
that entry.
Yeah, this guy's been absolutely nailing it in practice all weekend, but gets on a shallow line, drops a wheel way over the curb. Completely gets it wrong. It's messed up his line, David.
Yeah, he's on playing catch-up now, dropped 2 wheels heavily over those curbs. It's not as easy to see from watching on the screens or the live stream, but at the same time, that curb is about a foot high. So once you get up on it, it settles the car. The front wheels are now kind of half on and off the ground. It messed up his run badly there. So from a very good aggressive entry, he started to lose it all as he went almost running the wall, which isn't even, you know, on the track. And he got away with that one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he was very, very lucky. A lot of guys yesterday were dropping on that curb, DB'd in tyres, and, you know, nearly putting the front of the car into the wall. So, you know what, for me, it's going to be a very, very low score for Andreas Chewbacca.
He had a lot of errors there, and he'll know that himself. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, he was going for that. You know, you risk it to go for that big score, but at the same time, that's how knife edge it is. You make one mistake and it messes your whole run up. 38 on the board, as you can see, 5th position at the moment, but he's going to have work to do.
Yeah, exactly. So we move it along back to the line. It will be Mikael Norman-Tuts, the Estonian, the North European champion.
Yeah.
With an E46 turbo V8, 750 horsepower on the one Dave, and this guy was looking very good, a new contender to the championship at this round. Look at how wide he's initiating. Look, he gets that rear wheel all the way into the outer zone, keeps the car pinned, and on a very good line right now is Mikkel. Look at this from Mikkel, very deep, a little too deep.
Yeah, it drops off the track. You can see the speed he was carrying. I almost took a little moment there. I was like, he could end up in those barriers, but
you
he
know
gets
what?
away with it.
He's held it together, Dave, and he's put in a very, very good run. The AIM Cola sponsored driver takes it over the line, and you know what? Apart from the wheel drop there, going a little bit too deep in that outer zone 3, it's a very nice run there.
As they come to that second corner, they've got an inside zone to hit. Yeah. He missed that inside zone to make sure he made the outside zone. But at the same time, it was nearly a more rewarding zone for him. It got the line right after that point. But it goes to the aggression there on the transition. I thought he was going to take our tower down, and he was coming in that fast. Incredible stuff.
Well, I hope not, because I want to see top 16.
That's true. So nobody should try and hit the tower at any point before we get there. Even in the final.
Even in the final, yeah.
We want to see the whole thing.
We want to see the whole full thing, yeah. So we wait for the score to drop in there for Michael Tutz. Judges just deliberating this one, Dave. You know, a wheel drop. It's only one wheel. Is it going to hurt his score that much? The run was very good up to that. And look at this, a 62.7 there for Michael, drops him into 3rd position so far. He'll be happy with that, and he knows where he has to improve.
What a great addition to the championship. Yeah. Looks very strong out there. Next up, we have the man from the Middle East, from Jordan, and he's done a lot of competing in the Middle East. He is the highest ranked driver in the Middle East territories. It is Ahmed Daham representing Red Bull, and he is running 1,000 horsepower with the craziest anti-lag system I've ever heard on a car. It pops, it bangs, it shook windows in the streets.
Oh, wow.
And he has an issue straight away off the line. That is unfortunate for Ahmed Daham, because he looked so on form yesterday in practice, and it looks like just when it matters now, the car is causing some gremlins.
You know what, Dave? This guy, I watched a lot of his social media stuff. I did some research on him, and his driving is phenomenal. And coming into this event, I thought, is he going to...
you know what? Not even making it to the end of the circuit. That looks like a bad time for Ahmed Daham. Now, of course, he is an engine tuner by trade. That's what he does, so he'll be straight in with his team to have a look at that. But
and it looks, Dave, like we've got some oil on the circuit, so could potentially either gearbox, differential, or engine been at fault there. I mean, let's hope it's an easy fix for the guys.
I'm no expert, Ian, but if all the oil is on the track, that means it should be in the car, and that means something in the car had no oil, and that's going to cause some damage.
Yeah, I mean, not good for Ahmed Daham.
No.
And we make it official. So we need to make it official.
Yeah, this is going to be obviously a 0, but you know, he's the 4-time Middle East champion. He's a Guinness Book of World Records holder for the longest twin drift. They did over 50 minutes door-to-door with James Dean. 50 minutes.
Yeah, and there we go, a 0 there for Ahmed Daham. We've put him into 8th position, and fingers crossed, Dave, you can get that car fixed, because I was very excited to see this guy drift. Like you say, shipping this car over here just to beat James Dean. So that's commitment for you as we await to get Ahmed's car off the circuit, and the track staff here at Riga just going to clear up the circuit.
So Ahmed Daham is obviously going to be needing some recovery, and of course, whatever that issue may be, let's hope it's not that terminal that he can get back out for a second run. It's a long way to come, all the way from Jordan here to Latvia to try and compete against the best in Europe, and he's had such a dogfight with James Dean in the winter. He wanted to continue that, and from my perspective, he's got a lot of work left to do. Ahmed Daham is going to be hoping that that car is not that badly damaged.
So, yep, as we await to get Ahmed Daham off circuit,
But now he's left some oil on the track there, Ian. From my perspective,
he did a very good thing, though, Dave. He stayed offline. If you look where he drove through the centre of the circuit. So he kind of, it was like he almost knew. You know, listen, he's an experienced driver. We all know the game. You know, if you've got a problem with your car, kind of stick where you're going to be offline for the rest of the drivers for the grid. And
absolutely, and that car will need to be hoisted and lifted off the circuit to avoid any more oil spillage on the track. Get it back into the pits. Hopefully, whatever is wrong with that car, let's hope it's not an engine. 1,000 horsepower engines are pretty expensive things, and also very hard to fix in the 20 minutes or half an hour he's got to get back on circuit for his second run.
And very, very difficult as well to note that this guy is a long way from home, Dave. You know, we know a lot of these guys around Europe help each other out, lend each other shops, parts, places to work from, information. But you know what, for Ahmed Daham, now if he has to try and build a motor in a completely different country, put it in the car, tune it, not an easy task before he goes and only 2 weeks before we go to Turin in Poland. And Dave, we tarmac a football stadium.
As you do. So yeah, that round 4 in 2 weeks' time in incredible moto arena in Turin in Poland. We are going to take a full stadium and put tarmac around it and put these guys in an enclosed arena like gladiators that have fight it out for the podium. I can't wait for that one. So Ahmed Daham will be recovered from the circuit. We'll have a little bit of cleanup, And we're back for action very soon here, and I'm looking forward to seeing who comes out on top.
You guys are commentating Red Bull.
We could go live back. We're still live on Facebook. The ads are only Red Bull TV, so we can.
Of course, when you have a course with entry speeds of over 100 miles an hour, the best thing that can happen through qualifying is people putting oil on the track, which makes it even more dangerous. Has that meant the hams? I'm not sure. We're going to hear reports soon whether it was an engine or a gearbox dropping a lot of oil along the circuit, some of it on the racing line, a lot of it off the racing line, so it should only affect certain sections of the track. But an unfortunate start for him and our team here working tirelessly to try and get that car back, or the track rather, back to perfect condition. Of course, we want those track conditions to stay consistent for every driver in this qualifying session.
Yeah, and like you say, Dave, I mean, a car's going over this circuit over 100 miles an hour. The last thing you need is to be hitting a little patch of oil, right? So,
I mean, I'm scared enough for Dizzy, and now I'm even more scared for these guys. I mean, some of these I know personally.
Yeah.
And I fear for their lives right now. I mean, this sport just is insane.
Yeah, listen, we ramped it up from Płock in Poland. It's just got crazier and crazier and crazier. And
Can you imagine years ago someone said, I'm just going to do some donuts?
Yep.
And you told them, I tell you what, in about 15 years' time, people are going to build custom-built cars with 1,000 horsepower to go at over 100 miles an hour sideways.
At a racetrack in Latvia.
In a forest.
In a forest.
I mean...
And then do a street parade the night before to show everybody in the local town exactly what's going on.
That to me...
And we're going to drive 60 race cars, full-bred, race-fueled, semi-slick tired race cars down the streets where you live.
7 kilometers through the center of the city.
Yeah.
Into the middle. People were just enjoying some coffee, having a nice dinner.
Having their evening meal.
Having their evening meal. Families were there. Next thing, bang, 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 anti-lag, and 70 drift cars come rolling through the city streets. It was a spectacle.
Yeah.
With a full police escort. I've never seen anything quite like it. I saw a 15-year-old child from Ireland drive a 700 horsepower car through the main streets of a European city, and the police give him the thumbs up.
Give him the thumbs up, yeah.
I mean, it's Riga.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Riga.
So it's a differential we're hearing from Ahmed Daham's car. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I could give you a little bit of technical information if you'd
Go
like.
easy
Dave.
on me, Ian. Go easy on me.
He currently runs in that car. A lot of these guys are running an aftermarket differential, which it's a very easy system. 2 gears in the back, you can change the gears, makes the gearing different, so your final drive is longer or shorter. Ahmed currently runs a standard style differential in that car, and I know there's a few guys in the pits that have spares, especially Bagsy's crew, Nigel Colfer, so not a problem to find one locally, so an easy fix for Ahmed. So fingers crossed we can see that.
That wasn't even too technically, even I understood
even
that was good. But basically what you're saying to me is that they can get it fixed for a second run, but knowing the scoring criteria here, he has to get it all done on one run.
Yeah, he now can't leave anything back in the pits. He has to get that diff in, clear his mind, get on the start line and be like, this is it.
And I mean, think about it from any other motorsport perspective. You have a race, for instance. Now, sure, you make a mistake, you crash, whatever, you're out of the race. But if you make a small error in a race, you got like 10, 15, 20, sometimes 50 laps to recover. You can get back in the zone, get yourself back in. In drifting, it's a 30-second run here.
Yeah.
So in that 30 seconds, if you make an error, that's it for the weekend. You don't get to do anything else, just sit back and watch. That, to me, makes this sport so challenging, that these guys build these cars, one mechanical failure, you're out, one drop of a wheel, you're out, or even if you're on the track but offline, you're going to be out. So that means all of these guys are trying to be the best, and that is essentially, if you think about it, a lot of other motorsports are like a marathon. These guys are like Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
It all matters within a couple of seconds.
Within a couple of seconds, yeah, exactly. And you know what? The judging criteria and the level, everything stacks on top of that and makes it so difficult. So difficult.
It's difficult even to watch it and explain it. Never mind try and do it with a car yourself. So as far as I'm concerned, our guys on the track here are getting as much of the track prepared and ready to get back to the action. And as you can see, look, we're looking in the pits right now. Ahmed Daham, rear clamshell on this car, making things pretty handy. Ian taking off that rear clamshell and getting right under the car to make sure. And you can see the panic in Ahmed Daham there. He doesn't look comfortable.
No, he doesn't. You know what? And he's travelled a long way, Dave. Like I keep saying it, you know, and people often say, yeah, he's come a long way, but it is such a long way. He flew his car out here to be to this event, and you know, for one little problem like this, the differential going.
As you can see, he's and of course he's waiting. His crew, obviously great guys, and all the crews behind the scenes are just great guys. These guys, a lot of them not professionals in motorsport. They're just, you know, mechanics from around the way, friends, family getting behind the car. And this is just, I mean, it's sometimes the story off the track can just be as interesting as what happens on the track. And this gives us a great idea, if you're new to drifting, of how extreme these cars are built. Look at the rear end of this car. Built to take impacts, built to be lightweight, built to be functional, and of course, built to be able to change things quickly like he is now.
Yeah, accessible. Everything needs to be easy to get to, like you say, Dave. It needs to be able to take an impact, and you look at that, stripped down to the bare bones in seconds, and the differential almost out. And these guys, you know, carry a very big spares package, so fingers crossed Daham's team have got a spare diff ready to swap out. And it does look, Dave, like our track staff are almost ready to send some more cars.
Yeah, of course, obviously, this how they clean up oil.
Yeah.
It's not that technical. They put kind of some cement down on the oil that absorbs the oil, and then they use essentially a leaf blower to blow that residue off the circuit, meaning that it's not as slippy.
No.
I even figured that one out
on
my own, so, you know. But those guys on the track, they've got a long day in the sun ahead of them. I'm sure they're going to be picking some cars out of the wall, picking some oil off the track, and as you can see in the pits, those guys are going to be busy also with some repairs. They've got about, I would imagine, about half an hour to get this car back ready by the time we get around to his run again, so they've got a little bit of time. And again, they may not be on the perfect ratio either. As you said, if they put a different differential into it, it's a hard word to say, into the back end of that car, he might have to learn some new stuff as he goes, and that for me could be the difference maker in that scoring system later on.
Yeah, and he gets no practice. It's just imperative to say he will go out. The next time he drives that car will be for a qualifying run. So he will drive that car full tilt, and it will have to count.
And sometimes they make these repairs and still have to go back in at 100 miles an hour and not sure if it's going to work. I mean, that is just something wrong with these people, Ian. Something wrong with them. Where did their lives go wrong is what I'm trying to think. I mean, why would you even try and do this sport?
Yeah,
I mean, to watch it, yes. fantastic, but to actually go and throw that much time and effort into a corner at that speed, run those concrete walls, well, I suppose that's why people come to watch it. That's why it's the fastest growing motorsport in the world, and that's why it is sort of igniting the imagination of petrol heads across the world, because the way they can build these cars with free engine choices, horsepower choices, you know, you can see some incredible drag racing cars from across the world, but they go in a straight line. These guys do the exact opposite
with the same amount of power.
With the same amount of power. So it's incredible. So the tires are designed to be at almost, you know, 50, 60 mile an hour wheel speed higher than what they're actually traveling in speed. It's incredible to see how far the sport has come, and you get a great look there at behind the scenes. Our guys that see it live here, our camera crew are going to be bringing you all of the action throughout the day. We're going to check in with our field reporter Eddie Power later on the day. He's going to be getting in behind the helmet all day and seeing what these guys are thinking of this Riga circuit.
Yeah, as you can see, team are just jamming away. They're trying to get their differential out. They've got quite a bit of time, though, Dave, to get that car back together again before Ahmed Daham has to be on the line.
When we say quite a bit of time, your local mechanic is not going to do this in less than 2 days. But in drifting,
it happens in minutes.
It happens in minutes, and that is the incredible work that goes on behind the scenes to keep these guys on track for those 40 seconds of showtime. So it looks like our track is almost ready to start sending some more cars. I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys adjust now. There might be a small bit of residue on the surface. It's not going to make it any easier.
No, it definitely isn't going to make it any easier. And you know what, for me as well, sitting on that start line, the next guy up sitting on that start line, Juha Rittinen, the Finnish driver, ex-Formula D driver. He's got a lot of experience under his belt.
Absolutely.
You know, he is going to be sitting on the start line. A lot of pressure. It's a long way to overthink everything.
That's the problem. You sit on that start line, you have that much time.
Overthinking
You just keep thinking and thinking and thinking. What if I mess it up? What if I don't get the perfect run? So Juha Rittinen warms his tires. This is an insane machine. One of the fastest cars on the track. And I know when we talk about drifting, it is about speed. It's about keeping it sideways, but keeping it sideways at maximum speed. That's going to count for the battles later on today when two guys go head to head. That is not to be missed. But right now it's single runs just to see out of 70-something drivers. We've got 72 on the grid, and they are from 21 nations, and only 32 drivers are going to make it through to battle. So pressure's on. And now the next is a Finnish driver. We saw a Finnish driver, Juha Poitalaxo, on the podium at the last round. Will the Finnish continue their strive to the top of European drifting? And look at that entry. Maximum attack.
Yeah, Juha Rittinen, a seasoned pro, and look at this as he fires that car in big angle. Very, very nice line through moving point 2 and into 3, but uses the handbrake there to slow the car down and adjust it. The judge is going to be penalising his score quite heavily there, but gets back into the throttle after the deacceleration zone and takes it over the line. And Juha Rittinen, 2 JZ powered S15, 900 horsepower.
Just sounds angry, Ian. Just sounds like a car that is not happy with anything that's going on in its life. Just absolute beast. Good run from Juha, a little bit off the line at points, but again, a run on the board, score on the board, and that's the important thing right now. Is just, you know, a lot of guys getting some nervy runs in here. Just get some scores on the board. Don't leave yourself with that 0 and it all to do in the second half.
So we wait the score to drop in for Juha Rittinen. For me, a little bit of a mistake coming out of 2 into that front clip. Apart from that.
Yeah, again, the line, we haven't seen the perfect line yet. I mean, we've seen some impressive runs. There you go, 69.3 for Juha Rittinen, puts him in the 2nd position. He'll be happy with that one. That was, for a return to European action, that's not so bad. Next up is a man who's had 1 practice run this weekend. It's the Monster Energy driver, Dmitry Ulyuk, and he is running the craziest engine setup I've ever seen.
Yeah, a VK56, a twin turbo, 1100 horsepower. That's a Nissan V8 twin turbo. As the Ukrainian fires this car in, a lot of handbrake in there from Dmitry Ulyuk, and offline, Dave, he's going to struggle now to make this work for himself.
This car spits 4 flames simultaneously from the front end of the car. This engine originally in a Ford pickup truck, now with 2 turbos slapped into a mid-90s Nissan, and this thing rips 1,000 horsepower plus. And Dmitry, one of the most experienced drivers on the grid, but did not make practice yesterday with car issues. So he had 1 practice run this morning. Now he's into qualifying. I think it's showing a little bit. He needs maybe a little bit more seat time there to get that right.
Yeah, that first corner for me just a little bit too shallow. Didn't manage to get onto that wide line. It just kind of messed his line up as he come through 2 and into that front zone. Score drops in a 55.3 there for Juha Rittinen. For Dmitry Ulyuk. It will be dropping into 7th place. So as we move it along to Filippo Perini.
Craziest MX-5 I've ever seen in my life, Ian. This is a car for, quiet country road, top down. Usually comes with about 120 horsepower. Not this one.
No, this one has 690 horsepower. There's a 2JZ under the bonnet.
Yeah, the Italian Filippo Parini throws it into that first corner. He was making plenty of noise in the street parade last night with the roof off, but right now, just running that very shallow line through the first section. As you can see, hammering the throttle, but not getting out to those exterior zones. See these white zones painted at the edge of the circuit? That's what they're aiming for. And just a little shy of a lot of them. Getting around the circuit, no problem. And believe me, that's a task in itself. But if you want to score above the 60s or 70s, you're going to be expected to get the rear wheels into those zones. And Filippo missing a couple on that occasion.
Yeah, I spoke to him last night at the street parade. He said that last night on the street parade was the first time all weekend the car has run 100%. All day yesterday he had problems in practice, had a big misfire, never managed to put one run in. So this really, technically for Philip Parini, is one of his only runs of the weekend. So not doing a bad job, Dave.
No, I think it was just outside Starbucks yesterday. He realized it was running perfectly. They are 45.7 as expected. A good solid midpoint run, put him in 8th position, but not impressing the judges with that actual judge line. So we're still waiting on some guys to light up that scoreboard, but it's early days.
It certainly is. Up next on the line we will see Sergei Kremitz. Oh, so Sergei Kremitz backing off the line, the Ukrainian driver in the Mercedes-Benz CLK. Yeah, V8 CLK backing up. So we will move it along to our next driver. That will be Jakub Shmushkevich.
So
wow,
we also
so
another retirement.
This
track is taking some victims, and especially on the mechanical side of things, as Sergei Kremitz and Jakub Shmushkevich both pull out of the first round of qualifying. Moving on to the Danish driver, Caspar Christiansen, drifting for 4 years. He is the 4th highest ranked driver in the Danish Drift Championship, and he's also competed at the Nürburgring. Also, E46 2JZ, 720 horsepower, and a 530 BMW gearbox in this. He looks stronger every single run this year. 3rd round for him. He's been in since the start of the championship. I'm expecting big things.
Yeah, and when I see him this morning, big smile on his face, so he's having fun. And look at this, fires it in, but drops off line instantly. As soon as he gets the rear wheel in, he drops off line. And this is going to be hard work now for Caspar Christiansen.
You can see him just fighting with the steering wheel there, Ian. Like, you know, a lot of work behind the wheel means the guy is just trying to control that car rather than drive it. And Caspar, for me, a very talented driver, gets a good run on the board, but just a little bit of wavering on the first corner set him offline. And that's a difficult corner to get right, because you want to be on maximum attack, but you still want to complete the corner. You don't want to hit that concrete wall. And some guys just hesitating a small bit and costing a little bit of their line. But I'm expecting it's a 0 for Caspar Christiansen there. So judges saying not.
Oh, so judges saying that Caspar is actually dropping 2 wheels off circuit. So
they on the inside of the first corner. That chevron box is actually
off circuit,
you don't want to be in it. You might as well pretend it is not part of the circuit. Next up, we have got Dennis Hansen. Dennis, another Danish driver, and he was originally a motocross driver for over a decade and ended up falling into the world of drifting. This happens quite a bit. Motocross guys say, I'm not going to fall off a drift car, so I can actually have a little bit of safer extreme fun in a drift car. But a lot of these guys have great hand-eye coordination, and that's what helps them. And look at this initiation, not bad at all.
Now Dennis Hansen, look at that, all the way up to the edge of the circuit. This is going to be a nice transition back now. Can he keep the wheel out of that box on 3? This is looking good for Dennis Hansen right now as he slows the car down. Oh, a little bit too much. You just see a waver there ever so slightly, but he gets into the wall.
Nice wall tag from Dennis Hansen. Nice. He's looking good out there, Ian.
Yeah, you know what? He's looking confident as he takes it over the line, Dave. A very good run there for Dennis Hansen.
You know what? A Hansen run. Hansen man. I promise that's the last of the puns for the day.
The only one.
The only one. We're allowed one every weekend.
One a weekend.
But Dennis Hansen, the 28-year-old ex-motocross driver, and you know what? He is one of the best drivers in Denmark, but he's got to be the best in Europe today. And with a run like that, he's stating a claim.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Throwing it all out there. That 2JZ S15 working perfectly. Look at that, 76.3 for Dennis Hansen. Drops him into 2nd position.
He even looks like a cool customer in the picture.
Like
he does.
Cool, he's a cool cat. And we move it to the line to his brother, Jimmy Hansen.
Oh, you see there the rivalry between brothers. So he's going to try and outdo his brothers. Jimmy Hansen, another Danish driver, and of course, if you know. A little bit, he's the older brother, so you know what the younger brothers upstage you at this level. So you got to go out there and put a better score in. Jimmy Hansen, M3 Turbo, 865 brake horsepower, and looking good also. Danish guys came to play this weekend.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of a late initiation though from Jimmy Hansen. Just didn't seem to get into it as quickly as his brother did. Yeah, look, it starts to show up now as he's starting to drop. The line was off. Yeah,
he lost a lot of speed very rapidly towards the last section, and it almost came to a stop the car. That wasn't perfect. I think he's not going to outdo his brother's score on this occasion.
So as we await the score to drop in there from Jimmy Hansen. Yeah, like you say, I don't think it's going to outdo his brother, and a little bit of sibling rivalry there is going to be good on the grid.
We got a couple of sets of brothers on the grid, you know, and that's a little game in itself, you know. We've got the Shanahan brothers out there. We've got a couple of guys from across Europe that are, you know, a two-car team, family team. We obviously have the Red Bull Drift brothers who are going to take to the circuit very soon. So there's a little brother championship going on there, you know, and I'm sure a lot of awkward drives home.
Very quiet ones.
Very quiet drive,
Yep.
you know, maybe not talk for a week, then get back to the cars.
Get back into it, yep.
So we await the scores for
Jimmy Hansen.
Yeah, Jimmy Hansen is waiting his score.
Judges just having a little bit of a discussion on this one. Just
they love discussing.
They
things.
love a discussion.
They love a discussion. So we await the score for. Yeah, so 52.7 for Jimmy Hansen there, 52.7. You know, puts him mid-pack. We're seeing some of that now. Next up, this is a crazy car.
Yeah, Christian Eriksen, the Swedish driver.
This is a full carbon Kevlar body GT86.
Yep.
2JZ, 932 horsepower.
Is that it?
The two makes a difference, Ian.
Oh, it does.
And he is an incredible driver from Sweden. He had a big hit with the wall, though, in Hungary. Got this car back together, and look at this, coming in very confident,
You know
showing
what?
no signs of fear.
No, this guy looking very, very strong here this weekend. And this car, look at that, making clouds on this sunny day here in Riga in Latvia as he gets back into the accelerator. Starts to find the line now, tidies it up as he comes through the last outer zones. And look at the power, 900 horsepower as he shreds tyres across the line.
932,
Oh,
Ian,
32,
to be
sorry.
exact.
Sorry, Dave.
So, yeah, Christian, he had a huge impact with the wall in Hungary. To see that car come back here glistening.
Yeah, and I spoke to him after that impact at the end of the weekend, and I said to him, what's your plan? And he said, you know what, we're going to go back, we're going to work on the car, we're going to come to Riga bigger and better than we've ever been before. And you know what, look at that, proves it, comes out here and puts it against the best. So we wait the score to drop in there for Christian Eriksen, and look at this, a 63.7 puts him in 5th position. Good first score for Christian as we move it along to the line to our next driver, the Maltese Kane Pisani. And another 2JZ, just 780 horsepower this time.
Yep, and this is a beautiful car. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Toyota Supra is one of those cars that started the whole drift movement, started the whole Fast and Furious movement.
Yep.
And it is Kane Pisani.
Issues for Kane Pisani.
Yeah, he's had a lot of understeers through that first corner. He's going to try and get back on it again here.
But it was 4 wheels, Dave, on that chevron area.
I'm not too sure. Yeah, the judges did start dropping some zeros from putting 2 wheels off. Oh, and another cut of the corner there for Kane. It looks like he might have a mechanical issue there.
That could be a big problem there for Kane Pisani.
They were very early this morning. We were here quite early.
Yeah. Too early.
Earlier than we'd like.
Too early for a drift of him.
we were here early, and his team, 0 on the board for Kane Pisani, the Maltese driver. They were under that car at 7 o'clock this morning, which would, show to me that was some gremlins. And another man who had a big impact with the wall, but yesterday in practice, is Mikael Overgaard. The Danish driver, 29 years. You just frightened yourself.
Yeah,
there,
scared
it's okay.
myself.
Yeah. S13 1JZ, 730 horsepower, and he had a big impact with the tyre bales yesterday. So you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe some nerves, or is he going to come in and send it just as hard? I would imagine it's the latter.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to come in with just the same amount of pace. He carried a lot of speed yesterday through the first 2 turns and just overcooked it, hit the tyre wall end on end. But look at this, very calculated from Mikael Overgaard right now. That is a very good line as he sends it into that outer zone. Just drops 1 wheel into it. Not as deep as we'd like to see, but a perfect wall run. Stays in it over the bumps, Dave. Full commitment there from Mikael Overgaard.
A good run from Mikael Overgaard. Not perfect, but again, just we got to see them filling those outer zones with both rear wheels. He's just dropping one in here or there. But again, it's what the judge is looking for. Is a commitment. I mean, big angle, big smoke, lots of speed, and no fear after having a big impact yesterday with the tyre bales. He comes in just as hard today. And a 57.3 is his reward. Into 8th position he goes.
So a good score there for Mikael Overgaard. As we move to the line, it will be Kim Mathiasen, the 31-year-old Danish driver. And LS1 E46. This guy looking more and more at home on his faster circuits.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience, especially on faster circuits. He's driven, across Europe. He's been in Gatwick. He's been to a lot of crazy events at the Nürburgring. So he's not afraid of these big fast tracks. That's going to play into his advantage here. This crazy LS1 500 horsepower BMW. You know what? He's on the bottom end of the power bracket, but looking on the top end of the aggression bracket as he throws it through those first 2, just drops up on that curb.
Yeah, hops the wheel up on the curb, Dave, so he is slightly offline. It's going to hurt his score, and as you can see now, that starts to put into effect where he is on the circuit. He completely drops that out of zone 4, gets into 5, and he's going to fulfill 6 as he takes over the line, but few errors, but you know what? Yesterday in practice he was looking strong. So
again, look, there's a little nerves out there. You got to be. Look, I mean, you have 40 seconds to get the job done.
Yeah.
It's going to start weighing in on your head. There's been a couple of delays with some, oil on the track. These guys are maybe overthinking it a little bit. There's a little intimidation if you're watching around at all these champions around you on the start line, saying 51 on the board for Kim Mathiasen, 12th position so far. Just saying, there's a lot of big talent there. You're looking around going, am I good enough? I mean, what have I got to do to beat these guys? And it does. The mindset is a big important part of drifting, and especially when for the likes of Daniel Janota now in his very crazy hatchback. This is the craziest hatchback I've ever seen in drifting.
yeah, I mean, very, very cool car, very cool build as Daniel Janota sends it off the line. An M50 B30 under the bonnet, 3-litre turbo BMW engine. Oh, but big wheel drop there.
It's wild, it's crazy. I've enjoyed it.
Very wild.
He went into the grass and said, you know what, I'll just keep it planted to the floor, and he got away with it. But it's a wild run from Daniel Janota. And it's probably the most entertaining run of the competition so far, but the judges aren't looking for entertainment, they're looking for criteria. And two wheels well off the circuit there around the first corner, and clouds of dust and smoke filling the circuit here as our marshals go to inspect just how much digging he did out into that first corner. He kept it in though.
He kept it in, yeah, and you know what? That's probably the best thing he could have done was stay on the accelerator. If he would have come off the throttle, we could have potentially seen the car completely change direction and head towards that concrete wall, and that wouldn't have been good for Daniel Janota.
First of our drivers representing the Czech Republic, so of course, such a wealth of experience and such a mixed bag of experience and styles and chassis and engine setups. It's just so exciting to watch.
Yep, and we make it official. It will be a 0 there for Daniel Janota, so 16th place currently, but gonna have to make it all count on his second run as we move it along to a guy in a not the same car. Yeah, not the
here's
same
what
car.
you do. You drive a fully carbon fiber Ford Mustang with a 4.8 V8 turbo, and then you say the Mustang suspension brakes, so you put a Mustang engine in a BMW.
Because that's what you do.
That's what you do if you're from Austria.
Yep.
And you're Brandy Brandner as he throws it into that first corner.
Yep.
Just dropping a wheel on that inside chevron.
Yeah, Brandy Brandner there, like you say, Dave, dropping a wheel on the inside chevron. Teething problems this car, brand new build for this round. Like you say, problems with the car after Hungary, big impact with the walls, saying that the chassis was damaged very significantly and they didn't want to repair it, so they put the power plant from that car
I would
into a BMW.
I would imagine that is one of the only BMWs in the world running a Ford Mustang engine. I would say that turbo. I would say that is a very unusual swap, and it's what they had. They had that. That's Brandy Brander's old car, and his new engine from the new Mustang, and then they just Frankenstein that together, and he's pulling it together, putting some runs in. Not the prettiest, but something to work with.
It work,
and the car seems to be working. 53.3, 11th position for Brandy Brandner.
As we move it back to the line, we see what the first of our English drivers, Matt Carter, sits on the line from Great Britain. To 1.5 JZ under the bonnet of this Nissan Skyline R32, representing Team Japspeed and Maxxis Tyres. Now this guy, Dave, has had one hell of a season so far.
It's all been bad though. Bad luck at round 1, bad luck at round 2. Didn't qualify at round 2, had mechanical issues, but look at the speed. He's coming to that first corner. Look at the line.
Yeah, Matt
right
Carter.
to the edge of the circuit from Matt Carter.
Wow, look at the aggression, Dave, as he puts that car 90 degrees to the wall. Unbelievable stuff from the 2017 UK champion, but completely drops it offline, gets it on the wall. He's dropped clipping point out of zone 4 there, so that's going to hurt his score, but what commitment.
Nice to see Matt Carter on top form and the car working. They had electrical gremlins on Wednesday. They got it sorted. He was the most aggressive we've seen through the first 2 corners, but it just fell off a little bit towards the 3rd corner when he couldn't get out to that outer zone. Still got back to the wall okay, but a little bit of straight lining there, so judges will be watching for that. But lots of I would say positivity in that run. It looked good. Cars looking good, and trying to turn the season around. Of course, the pride of the UK, Matt Carter, 2017 UK champion in the British Drift Championship, and looking like he's taking no prisoners today.
Yeah, it looks like he's come out with all the intent as we drop the score. And look at this, a 73.3 for Matt Carter.
And with that big error, so he's got a big score in him,
yeah.
Ian, if he can tidy up that last section of the track. Next, we move along to Jim Olofsson from Sweden, 29 years of age, 3rd place in the Swedish Championship recently. This is an M50 Turbo, 750 horsepower, representing Simpson Racing. And you know what? Another Swedish driver who's been looking good in practice. And Jim, he finished in the second place in the Race of Champions in Scandinavia, so a bit of experience in a lot of motorsports. But drifting, his chosen target, I suppose, at the moment would be the right word to say. This is his target to do well at this particular sport, and he said it's the most difficult he's tried so far. So we believe him.
Yeah,
I believe him.
Yeah, he had an impact with the tyre wall on Friday. Snapped some steering components on that car, but the team got it back together again. He's back out for practice later on that day and looking good, like you say, Dave, looking strong. Jim Olofsson really laying it down. He gets the green light to go as we see Jim Olofsson off the line.
Yeah, coming through the gears. I mean, that is just full throttle, bang, bang, bang through the gears until you get to this initiation point. 4th gear and throw it onto the edge of the circuit, trying to, dice with that outer line. That little touch with the car, but look at the speed Jim Olofsson is carrying here. Certainly no nerves after that impact with the tyre belts. And he's going to get this a little bit wrong.
Wow.
Oh, and the car goes over. And the car rolls over.
Wow, and a big accident there for
Big
Jim Olofsson.
accident. He's on the car, he's on its roof. Marshals making their way to that car immediately. And that goes to show just how quickly it can go wrong, Ian. That car rolling completely twice onto its roof.
It kind of all went wrong for me, Dave, as he transitioned. He went very, very wide on the first turn. He transitioned into clipping point 2 and then he hopped a wheel on the curb on clipping point 3 where they're meant to be a metre away. He hopped a wheel there, and then what happened was he adjusted his line. He was in the centre of the circuit, so what happened was the car wasn't going to slow. As they get into the outer zone 4, they should be on a very wide line. The car should swing, and as they transition back, they should start then using the angle of the car and the grip built into the chassis to slow it down. It didn't slow the car down. He ended up carrying a lot of speed across. And look at that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
And you know what? That just goes to prove to you, Dave, how good those Simpson Racing products are, keeping Jim Olofsson safe and sound.
Well, he has just rolled the car twice onto its roof. And as you can see, Hans device, Simpson helmets, Simpson restraints.
And look at this. I mean, we're going to go to a quick replay, and you could just see what I was trying to explain there of where he was, his position on the circuit, and how he got it so wrong. As he comes through, you can see, look how wide he is. He's not slowing the car down. Just tops the wheel, and it's the wheel.
It just digs into that gravel.
Digs in, and the grass,
and
just
over
flips
he goes.
And not once, Dave, but twice. Big rollover there for Jim Olofsson.
I mean, we haven't seen anything like that in a very long time.
We haven't seen a rollover like that since 2014, possibly, for us personally. When that was Bagsy, he rolled a car in the UK.
And he's taken the doors and everything off that car.
That is a very big impact. You know what?
So this basically means, Ian, well, it's all about smoke. It's all about fun. It's all about going out there and proving yourself. But we have to remind everybody at home that this is an extreme sport. Sometimes, because of its very good safety record, people forget that these guys are so talented. That's why these things sometimes don't happen. But at any moment, something like what happened to Jim Olofsson can happen.
Yeah.
And it goes to show why these cars are built to such a high specification, why they're built to take impacts like that with the roll cage, and while the driver's strapped in, and with those hands devices and everything, and of course our partner here at the championship, Simpson Racing Products, making sure that every driver is 100% safe. I know Jan Fearson was down there checking all the harnesses, making sure everyone was A-OK, just for moments like this, Ian. And you know what? Amazing. Jim Olofsson walks out of the car, says, not my day, but I'm okay. And that's more important.
Yeah, and like you say, Dave, listen, the speed, it just goes to show you the speed that these guys are travelling, of how fast that car went over. Normally you see a car go onto the grass, you wouldn't have expected it to flip over.
It just dug in.
It just dug in, because they're travelling so fast.
And it goes to show the risk. I mean, we have a full day, not only where one car will be passing through the circuit, but 2 cars will be passing through the circuit. Door to door, inches from each other and these walls. And look at the risks these guys are taking to be the best driver in Europe. And that's, you come here, you come with that mentality.
Yeah.
That is a fact. You've got to come here and say, I'm going to be the best. That is what it's all about. So we're going to check in with our pit reporter, Eddie Power. Eddie, incredible scenes. What's going on down there?
So we so often say just how dangerous motorsport can be, and you can see the accident here from Jim Olofsson, one of the most crazy accidents I've ever witnessed in drifting, and with the very highly raised curbs here on this circuit and the high speeds that these drivers are carrying. Jim just getting a little bit wrong, but you can just see on the screen that he's been checked out by the medical guys. He appears to be okay, but of course I'm no doubt he will be suffering some severe shock after that very big crash, spinning a couple of times, and maybe later on we might get a chance to talk to Jim and just see exactly what went wrong. But you can just see that car looking very sorry for itself after taking a big impact and then rolling several times, and yeah, not what we want to see here.
Thanks, Ed. That's appreciated. And Eddie will be down in the pits. I mean, obviously somber mood down there, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, listen, a very harsh accident there for Jim Olofsson, like we say, and
you can see him inspecting
so
the damage.
rarely
now.
seen. You know, it takes everybody by shock. I think everybody here, all the drivers, or the pit crew in the grandstand beside our judging tower and commentary tower, I think everybody took a deep breath as they see that car roll over twice, and thankfully enough, Jim Olofsson out of the car safely. And
we may be able to have a check over that again. I mean, I've never seen a car roll twice in drifting before. I haven't seen anything like that in competition, and it goes to show just how quickly it can go wrong. Look at this speed, bang, and then up over he goes. That car rolls twice and onto its roof. An incredible moment, and it just goes to show just how dangerous and crazy this sport can be. As Jim Olofsson's car is removed from the circuit, qualifying here in Riga is taking some prisoners already, and I'm enjoying the action every single step of the way.
Yep, so we can see Jim Olofsson's car just getting craned onto the back of that Budmat lorry. These guys travelling all around Europe, Dave, with the programme to safely remove these cars off circuit and doing an absolutely sterling job, the Budmat guys.
Absolutely, and I mean, I'm just still in shock. We've seen a car
personally
go over on its roof. We, you know, and I think there's a misconception sometimes in motorsport, especially in drifting,
of how dangerous it is.
And I mean, people go, oh, maybe it's overkill, all this safety stuff in the cars. Maybe we don't need all of these hands devices and roll cages. But it just goes to show when it goes wrong, that's when you need them. And that's why the safety regulations, even though the sport itself is unregulated, it's self-regulated.
Self-regulated,
and self-regulated to a very high standard. As you can see, the scrutineers doing their job there to make sure that everybody walks away and everyone lives to drift another day.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Those safety briefings that the guys for Jan from Simpson have been putting on have been imperative, Dave. The information that guy has been feeding back to our drivers all season so far has been life-saving, as we just witnessed. You know, Jan and the crew telling drivers how they can improve their safety within their car, what products to use, and just...
I mean, I've seen cars roll before, Ian, but never that viciously.
No, and especially not in our sport. Very, very rarely do we see a rollover or anything like that. We see big impacts with walls and other cars. But yeah, very, very rarely do we see a car roll over that viciously, like you say, Dave. So you can just see there, you guys watching at home on the live stream.
Well, now we know what can be done, Ian.
Well, now we know what we can achieve.
I mean, what I'm saying is every spotter is going to be on the radio to their driver saying, do not overcook that third corner because it's game over.
Yeah, listen, it just goes, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a reality check for everyone that is, you know, sending that car in there at them speeds, saying that if you come into that outer zone 4, too hot, get it wrong, get that line wrong in outer zone 3, the transition back is going to put you way offline, and it's going to stick you into the grass as Jim Olofsson's car makes its way off circuit.
And we're only in qualifying, Ian. We're only in qualifying.
Just qualifying, yeah.
So we're seeing action right from the off here. Not the action we wanted to see, but again, it shows how extreme the level is. And I mean, if you've never watched this sport before, what have you been doing with your life? Because this is insane.
What a perfect time to join in, though, Dave, as we kick off this unbelievable Drift Masters Championship. And, yeah, halfway through the championship so far, round 3 here in Riga. And in just 2 weeks' time, like we say, Dave, we move it to Turyn in Poland, where we tarmac a football stadium, fill it with 15,000 people, and, yeah, we kick off a spectacle, like a gladiator ring.
Then
like
we
say,
head
Dave.
to, you know, a Formula 1 circuit that
yeah,
they've just used.
Oh, it's a Speedway Stadium, sorry, my correction.
Yeah, and they moved then to a Formula 1 circuit, and then we go to Ireland, where, you know, I'm from, and we have the biggest car show in the world, almost what we say in Ireland. Biggest car show in Ireland up against one of the biggest drift events in the world. The action continues here in Riga as we continue our qualifying session. We've seen Jim Olofsson roll his car. The scenes are just insane, Ian. I am getting goosebumps already, and we haven't even got to lunchtime.
No, I mean, and we're not even halfway through our qualifying order of drivers yet. We've still got a lot of guys to go, and most of these guys, in fact, all of our guys have 2 runs yet to complete. So we're ready to move it along with the action back on the start line.
And of course, you know, if you're new to drifting, it's important to remember we're running in reverse championship order. So the last driver to go will be our current championship leader, James Dean. So we run back through the order. So we're expecting the scores to pick up as we go to all the way through. You can see him just talking to his crew. That is a heartbreaking moment right there, Ian, as he now has to, you know, thankfully say that he's okay. But secondly, when that, you know, adrenaline starts to, you know, drain away, he's going to realize the damage that's been done to that car. Will it be the end of his season? I really hope not.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, exactly. Just what I was going to say. 2 weeks, just 2 weeks to get that car. I mean, fixed. Is it a reshell? We don't know yet. We haven't had Eddie down there to talk to him. But it looks like we do have our pit reporter.
Jim, what about that? That was just a big accident. Can you tell us what happened from your perspective?
Yeah, I overshot it a little bit in the middle, so I didn't get the depth that I wanted, so I just flat it out to hit the outer zone and just scrubbed the curb and just dig into the sand and flipped over.
One of the most dangerous and scary accidents we've seen in drifting, but you've been checked out by the medics, and the Simpson safety products seem to have been doing their job, because you seem like you're okay. How are you feeling after it?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine, just a little bit tucked over, but that's what happens when you flip the car like that. So we're going to try to mend it, see if we can make it to a second qualifying lap. Hopefully it looks like the suspension have taken a hard hit and some control arms, but we have all the parts, so just we have the time, so maybe we can mend it if the marshal let us.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and thank you for taking the time to speak to us, and we hope that you're feeling okay after that big incident. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did he just say he was going to mend it, Ian?
Yep, they're going to mend it, Dave. That is the heart.
They're not going to mend it.
They are going to.
He just rolled over on his roof twice.
Yeah, they're going to attempt to fix Jim Olofsson's car and get him back out. As you can see, there a little bit of oil spilled out.
Can you imagine going to your insurance company and saying, "I've just rolled the car there twice, but it should be fine. Maybe half an hour, we'll be back out again," and throwing it in at 100 miles an hour, doing exactly the same thing again. That is insane. I mean, if he gets that car fixed, he's going to become an urban legend in drifting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a big impact. You could just see there that the roof skin, the fiberglass roof skin, has lifted up. The pillars took a lot of damage. The car has seen some action.
The windscreen seems okay. That's probably. I mean, window wipers are okay. Rest of it looks a bit rough.
Not so much.
Looks a bit rough. But again, he said the suspension taking a lot of the hits, which means, you know, as it rolled, it just caught the wheels. So if it is suspension alone, I'm sure they're going to try and get that car jacked up on 4 axle stands and start putting some new suspension in. I mean, I'm no expert, Ian, but I would imagine all the wheels facing the same direction would be a good start. They are all facing very different directions on Jim Olofsson's car.
Yeah, right now, yeah, a lot of damage sustained in that rollover.
Doesn't even have a door, Ian. Just point that out as well. The door is somewhere on the track. I mean, it's insane, this stuff. I mean, it's so casual to just say, we're going to try and get it fixed.
Fix it, yeah.
I'd have given up. I would have given up the sport at that point. I would have walked out of the car, thrown the helmet away, and said, I'm going for a drink. I'm going to watch it later on. I'm going to come back later on. But he is in the fight still. We might be able to watch this one more time. You can see Jan Fearson from Simpson Racing Products there checking over the car. Let's just check this out one more time. This is where it all goes wrong. Tries to go really wide to that outer zone 4. The car loses control. All 4 wheels are out of control. It hits that curb, jumps him, and then the back wheel digs in, and then boom, over he goes.
Yeah, very violent roll there for Jim Olofsson.
Not what you want to see.
No, not what you want to see.
And it was a scary moment, Ian. We just took a breath there and said, you know, we haven't seen a rollover of that, you know, level in the sport in Europe before. And, you know, with doors and bonnets flying off the car and everything. And Jim just, you know, cool and cash, just saying, hey, let's see if we can get it fixed. Goes to show that safety is such an important issue, but there is going to be a little bit of a cleanup on the track after that. And I mean, we've started with fireworks already.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're only in qualifying and already we've seen diffs blowing up.
We had a
guys
feeling
not completing runs. We said that it was going to be an exciting round. This morning we both looked at each other and was like, this is going to be a good round.
And you know, this is, you know, we come on air and you know, it might sound like we're putting this on, but we were standing back earlier on watching practice off air saying, we're going to have no trouble commentating on this because we are not going to be stuck for anything to say because there is so many variables at play here between different champions, different nations, the craziest track, plenty of really dangerous parts of the circuit, and right now we're already seeing that. We've had diffs explode on the track. We've had cars roll over. We haven't even got halfway through the first half of qualifying. And something tells me that me and you are going to be losing our voice by the end of today.
Yeah, I reckon by the time we head to that after party tonight in Riga City Centre, we're going to be pretty tired.
Zombies.
Tired, yeah, zombies.
But what we
would have done, we would have seen some seriously good drifting,
Yes.
some unbelievable action. And look at this, the guys trying to work out, Dave, what they need to do to get the car back together again.
They cannot get that car fixed.
I mean, we've seen some pretty spectacular stuff.
Of course, Him's team, though, all spares. Everyone brings spares for every part of the car. They're going to need probably all of them.
All of them, yep.
To get that thing back out there again. And if you imagine he was to qualify with a car that was twice on its roof in, the early stages of qualifying,
Crazy.
goes to show just how committed these guys are.
Yeah, so the track staff here just clearing up the last of the debris and oil spill.
Those guys have been busy.
Those guys have been busy
They
already.
said, you know what? It's going to be a really quiet morning.
Yeah, easy.
Things are going to get a little extreme in the afternoon when we get to the twin battle stage. We get two cars on track at the one time competing against each other. Qualifying will be a breeze.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Not a chance. Yeah, right now those guys are being really put to their test. And searing heat, sun's out, Dave. Few clouds in the sky, but not many.
No, we're expecting a scorcher here today. Perfect conditions for drifting. Perfect conditions for these guys to have maximum attack because they've got, the high temperature on the tarmac gives them plenty of grip in those sticky rear tires. And I honestly can't believe we've just witnessed a car roll over in qualifying and a guy get out and say we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
So plenty of guys getting around it. This is the great thing about drifting that, if you're new to the sport, this is something that you will probably never see in any other top-level motorsport. In another, you have your specific team and they work on your specific car. In drifting, everybody knows how much everyone's putting into this, so everybody jumps in. Everyone's teams, there'll be guys from other teams jumping in there. There will be 50, 60 people, hands on deck, trying to get that car ready because that's the challenge. And, of course, that is what the ethos of drifting is, that I want to win on the track, not in the pits.
Not in the pits, yeah. The camaraderie between lending parts out, lending tools, helping each other, like you say, is just phenomenal. You don't go anywhere in the world and see other teams, like you say, helping each other out in the pits and fixing each other's cars or lending people cars. We've
giving
seen
your
guys
spare parts, yeah.
giving cars to other drivers to drive. It's phenomenal.
Well, of course, in order to be the best, you've got to beat the best, and you can only beat them on the track, not in the pits. So they're always going to try and get everybody out there and make sure to get some runs in, and then, of course, take it to the final at the end of the day.
Well,
it looks like our track is almost ready and completed to be I mean, if I'm sitting on that grid now, I'm going, sorry, someone exploded? Someone rolled over?
Someone just rolled.
Someone's going to go back and tell them, what's the hold-up? And they're going, a guy just rolled over twice.
Rolled, yeah.
They're going to go, what?
And he's fixing it.
He'll be back, don't worry.
Don't worry, he's coming back.
He's coming back in a bit. He'll be all right. So we got to go back up to the start line, see who our next driver is, and I'm just hoping everyone survives. I said this in the pre-show. It's about survival here.
Yeah.
It's not just about competition. It's about, do you even want to do this? Do you even want to take to the circuit?
Yeah. Right, so now on the line we have Tobias Pushan. Tobias Pushan, the 31-year-old Polish driver. BMW V8 under the bonnet, 660 horsepower. He said it's a custom V8 with a big turbo, just a big one.
It's as big as my head. I had a look at this earlier on.
It is crazy.
Yeah, I don't even think that this is like something they take off a truck that that moves across countries and tows a lot of weight. This thing is crazy. And Tobias, the Polish driver, he started drifting in 2012. He finished first place in the Polish Cup in 2014, so he's got some success behind him. And he comes in very hot, Ian. Huge commitment.
Wow, look at this. Yeah, Tobias Pushan firing it all the way to the edge. Just take it, but gets on that shallow line, Dave. Falls off line, manages to hold it back together, starts to put it back on a good line again, but now he's really got to work for it. You can see a little wobble there as he comes into the outer zone. Driver's feeling the nerves, Dave.
And again, backing out a little bit as he came toward clipping zone 4, and that's the scary part of the track, car unsettling with the bumps and stuff.
Yep.
And you can see how easy it can go wrong with Jim Olofsson rolling the car there. So Tobias maybe taking just stepping back a little bit from that area, saying, I'm not going to roll the car. But one E30 on its roof is enough for the last 20 minutes. So he gets across the line, and we'll put a score on the board.
Yeah, as we await for that score to drop in from our judges. and into our system. So
judges dropping in those scores for Tobiasz Puszczan. The Polish look at it, start strong, and they do 68.7 for Tobiasz there. And a lot of Polish drivers on the grid, and a lot of them wanting that top spot. We move on to our next driver. It is Daniel Chewbacca from Norway. And he completely wrote this car off in Hungary into the wall. And it's back looking even better than ever. He works as a plumber full-time. So let's see if he can drain some scores from the judges.
Wow. And again, another driver dropping wheels, so could that be a 0 there for Daniel Chewbacca as he drops 2 wheels on that inner chevron?
Yeah, LS2, 748 horsepower. You can see him just trying to get to the edge of the circuit, but not quite making it. Clipping zone 4, messed up his line, and is on the inside of the track when you really want to be on the outside of the track. So not the perfect run there from Daniel, but good to see him back out on the grid. We spoke to him. He's a father of 2 kids. He said, you know, when you're a father of 2 kids and you're throwing yourself into a corner at 100 miles an hour with no runoff, it's a pretty scary thing.
Pretty scary fault.
So he's survived that run and gets a 50 dead on the board. 16th position puts him right in the mid-pack so far, but we haven't seen the scoreboard lit up yet with some big 80s and 90s runs so far. But we're looking forward to seeing as it progresses, those scores improve.
Yeah, we move it along to Ken Egved, the Danish driver, driving the BMW E92 LS3 Turbo under the bonnet. Ripped out that 335i, put it in the bin and said, I want a V8 of 750 horsepower.
Yeah, coming in very hot though, but still dropping to the inside of the circuit. Only one wheel though from my standpoint. And back on the throttle again as he absolutely fires this beautiful BMW through the center section. Now will he stay brave on the wide line? Doesn't. Just about, yeah. Gets back to that wall, not bad. Barely just making a wheel into that inner zone, but just shutting down a little bit too early for me there, Ian. A little bit of hesitation. It's a very strange last section to this course.
Yeah, I just like he come into that outer zone 4 a little bit hesitant, and then it kind of messed his line up as he got into the wall. But you know what? It will be a score on the board for Ken Egved.
And Ken Egved, another Danish driver looking to make his stamp on the championship. 55.7, 12th position for Ken Egved. Had a big collision with Conor Shanahan in Hungary at the last round. It looks like everything's A-OK this time around. Dariusz Fabiszak will be our next driver on the line. Another Polish driver, 37 years of age, one of our more experienced people, maybe not drivers, on the grid. And he has plenty of podiums in the bag in the past, running a Nissan S15 with a 3UZ Lexus engine, turboed 650 horsepower with nitrous, and a supercharger, my mistake. This is obviously running on Wisefab front and rear, and like everyone else coming in, having to come in very hot, but dropping 2 wheels on the inside. Oh, he's got a big error here.
Yeah, very, very late initiation, Dave. Didn't get out to that line like we'd like to see, and there's the 3 cones there depicted that the judges want to see the guys initiated by, and they failed to get out there. So scrappy rest of the run. Yeah, not going to be a good score there for Dariusz Fabiszak.
No, and of course, again, just getting around is tough. Even drifting itself as a discipline is very different than any other motorsport. Very hard to get the hang of it, and especially when you're trying to push the limits like these guys are out there. So it may not be the greatest run in terms of criteria, but even being able to get around this track at that brave speed is an achievement in itself. But there's a lot of brave guys out there, and we're going to whittle them down from 70 to 32.
So we await the score to drop in there for Dariusz Fabiszak, and a 47 on his first run drops him into 18th position as we move it along to the next guy on the line. It will be Benediktas Serba. Benediktas Serba, the Lithuanian.
Chewbacca,
sorry. My bad.
Come on, Ian, bit of culture.
We've had an off season. We've had a little bit of a break in the season.
We got to get back into it again now.
Yeah, Benediktas looking very good in practice. This guy absolutely firing his car through.
Yeah, Lithuanian driver. He is 3rd place in the Lithuanian Championship in 2017.
Wow, look at the
very
angle.
aggressive.
Unbelievable. As Benediktas Chewbacca fires that car in big amounts of smoke pour out the back of that E92 BMW. Can he get into that outside? Just drops the wheel into it. Gets that car on the wall though, Dave. Carries big angle, stays very committed over the jump and through the finish line.
I like that run.
I did, yeah.
There was a lot
commitment.
A lot of angle. I thought he was going to crash. Anytime someone I think they're going to crash and they pull it off, I'm like, that's a run for me.
That's a run for me.
I got a little, you get a little moment where the hairs on your arm just stand up and you go, oh no, and then he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay.
So that
he's alive.
He scared me a little bit, which means I would give him more points. But again, I'm not a judge, so let's see what he has scored from the judges. Impressive stuff, though. I mean,
yeah, very impressive stuff there for Benediktas Chewbacca. He was very good from practice yesterday morning. He was one of the strong guys that come in.
He's been strong all season, though. We've looked at every practice session he's done and said, this guy can really drive.
Yeah.
He's confident, and confidence goes a long way in this game.
I think he gets the hard route in the battles.
Yes.
He qualifies very well, and look at this, a 75.7 for Benedictus Chewbacca there, drops into third place. Yeah, he gets into that bracket on the battles, and he finds himself up against like James Dean and Connor straight off the bat in top 32. He hasn't progressed through. We move to the line. Max Heidrich up next to the German driver. 2JZ S13 700 horsepower. Now this guy feels right at home on this first fast circuit this weekend, Dave.
Yeah, but dropping in that inside on the first corner again, a little bit messy there in the first section, coming through very fast here. And Max having a big impact with the wall in Hungary, getting that car absolutely perfect again for this round. A very talented driver. But again, another driver failing to, fulfill that outer zone on the first corner, and it messes that line up for the rest of it. It's a real flow here,
And you know what? Not what we see yesterday in practice. That guy was one of the strong contenders, up there with most of the guys saying, you know what, he's looking confident, looking like a top qualifier, but not in that run.
That might just be a wobble.
Yeah.
He's got another run to left to do. It's not a bad score by any means. It's a good run. I think he's going to do pretty good out of it. But just from what we saw in practice, Max was killing it. So we're hoping to see him just, get the nerves out of the way with a 61.7, put him in 10th. Nerves gone now. Let's go out there and put a crazy run in for the second. That's when things really heat up in.
Yeah. This is when the guys really put it all on the line. Up next, we see Michael Raikkonen, the Czech driver, E92 BMW M50 Turbo.
And he's had a little bit of experience in Drift Masters. He's traveled quite a bit with the championship. He's building up plenty of he's been to a couple of these tracks in the past. Another Czech Republic driver, 900 horsepower, a crazy BMW. And look at the entry. He's gone absolutely bananas here. He's weight transferred twice, but it's actually cost him some speed.
Down massively, yeah. He didn't manage to get all the way out to the outer zone. Throws on big angle. It's going to put him on the wrong line. Manages to get out to that outer zone, but now he's got to work really hard to get to this outer zone forward. Doesn't get to it.
An entertainer though, Ian, with a couple of weight transfers on the initiation. We haven't seen that approach yet today. Maybe not the right approach, but definitely the most entertaining.
Yeah, he's definitely putting on a show, that's for sure.
He's putting on a show for people watching on here on the big screens, live in attendance, and we're expecting, around midday today, this place to be heaving with spectators.
The grandstand's already starting to fill up with people, Dave. It's still very early now.
Early for us, Ian.
Very early for us, Dave.
Yeah, especially with the nightlife in Riga. It's always, if
I was in bed very early last night, Dave.
Yeah, so was I. And the thing is, if I lived here, you would never see me at this time of the day up at all, because the nightlife is incredible. So that's why all of these people wait until midday.
Yeah.
They get up and go, okay, let's go watch some drifting.
So
64 for Michael Reichardt, 8th position in the qualification, and as you can see, judges putting in a reasonably good score there. Did some of the stuff right, just maybe his initiation needs a little bit of work. Next up, we have got Maciek Jarkiewicz, the Polish driver. He's been drifting since 2010. And he takes to the circuit in his Toyota Supra, had a big impact at the end of practice. Literally the last run of practice, he went straight into the wall. So let's hope they've got that car working again.
Yeah, did manage to drive the car off circuit. And yeah, look, same issue again. Looks like he just has a problem getting all the way out to that wide line. He's got the power in the car, but just looks like he struggles to find that wider line. Oh, and almost takes it way off circuit.
Yeah, hops the rear end of the car up on that curb, and that curb takes no prisoners.
Yeah, that part of the track I didn't think was dangerous. To me, that was like, that's just a grassy area. No, now that plays a big factor in the circuit.
I'm more scared of that than the first corner now, to be honest. And to be honest with you, those curbs, why they're so extreme, is for the rallycross that's here. So to avoid rally, I didn't see a zero showed there on the board officially, but essentially two wheels off the circuit. So it's a rallycross circuit, and therefore we don't want, rallycross cars are obviously high suspension cars, so they don't want them cutting the corners. So they built these huge curbs here to avoid them doing that. But when you come along in your super low drift car, that's like a mountain to try and get over. So when you drop it off track, you can see these guys hopping up off the circuit. And in the case of Jim Olofsson, sending the car almost over onto its roof. So not almost onto its roof.
It did twice.
Twice onto its roof. I undersold it there.
You undersold it, Dave.
I did.
It was a spectacular rollover for you.
Next up, we have one of the most experienced drivers in European drifting taking up to the start line. It will be Nigel Colfer from Ireland, 32 years of age. He's had over 50 podiums in his career, and he's running a 2JZ 740 horsepower 180 SX, representing a wealth of companies, Ian.
Yes. Yeah, jumping on board this year with Steve Bagsy Biagioni and representing SB Motorsport this year. Also Acorn Insurance. Yeah,
ST Suspension.
ST Suspension, yeah. Sunoco Race Fuel.
And, Nigel is one of those guys that Nigel's one of those guys who steps up to the plate sort of mid-season and starts making that late charge. He won around at Drift Masters at the end of the year last year, so this is kind of how he runs into these things.
And that is what he did here. He said to me in the workshop 2 weeks ago, I feel confident about Riga. I like Riga. It's a fast track. It suits my driving style. I've got experience there. I feel good. You know what? By the end of practice yesterday, he was looking as good, if not better, than James Dean. And James Dean was flying yesterday.
And you know what, though? Just to let you know, right now where we stand, how unpredictable this whole thing is. The highest scoring driver at the moment, 84, is an Estonian. So can the Irish top that? As Caspar throws it into that first corner.
Look at this from Caspar, big angle. Nice transition, gets nice and deep into the outer zone. Hits off of that front clip, gets deep into outer zone 3. Now starts to pedal it to 4. Look at this.
That's a huge run
This
so
is a
far.
big
Look at the
scoring
speed.
run from Nigel Caspar as Nigel Caspar stands on the accelerator, no backing out and over the line. Wow, Nigel Caspar steps up to the plate.
That is a big, big run. And the speed he carried in was just amazing.
Yeah, there was no lifting. He lifted once, and that was just a transition into 4 where the de-acceleration zone is. You know what, for me, that's going to be a top spot.
That is how I would drive that in a computer game, because I would not be afraid of what happened.
no danger.
Yeah, you can just reset
You're not going to fall onto the floor and hurt yourself.
No, but Nigel Caspar has smashed that run, and I think that's going to be a big, big score. There wasn't much more left out there on that one.
Wow.
And 90 for Nigel Caspar as he goes first. Wow, big statement from the Irish right from the off.
Yeah, Nigel Caspar, look, it just goes to show you the confidence and experience proving here, and Nigel Caspar steps up to the plate and knocks a 90 out.
But it's a 90 on the first run.
First run.
So now he's got no pressure for the second. I think that's going to get him into top 32 battles automatically, going by previous, rounds of years.
Yep.
So he's going to have no pressure to go out there and try and top that again. So that's a great position.
Great position. Someone who has got a lot of pressure on his shoulders right now is the next guy on the line, Adam Zalewski, the 2017 Drift Masters champion, Dave, not having the greatest season so far, not managing to put a foot on the podium as of yet this season.
No, and again, he's fighting his way back up the order. Had a good solid round in Hungary, though, but Poland on his home track, he had a disaster.
Yeah.
He did 8 rear drive shafts that weekend and could not get the car back out to qualifying. But he's trying to climb back up the order again. He's feeling confident out here. I spoke to him yesterday evening. He said, you know what, I've had a bad start, but there's a long way to go. He has 3 more rounds ahead of him, including this one. I think he's going to go out there and put it all on the line.
Yeah, I mean, he has to right now, as we see Adam Zalewski sitting on the line. That's Zestino tyres, E30 BMW. Adam Zalewski running a 2
And you know what?
GZ.
A lot of pressure on the shoulders of an 18-year-old who currently is the defending champion. Let's see what he's got.
Yeah, running 2 JZ under the bonnet, 800 horsepower as he fires that car, and he's looking strong yesterday in practice. He's on a nice high line as he carries big angle. He's all the way out, gets to clipping point 2, nice and early. Now this is where it starts to count. This is where he needs to get nice and deep. Gets into the outer zone 4, nice and tidy, gets on the wall, flat over the bump and through the line. Very
another
nice.
good run in.
Very confident run there from Adam Zalewski.
I mean, this is a formality. Qualifying isn't the most exciting part of the show, but these guys are definitely upping their level now, and it's heating up out there as it is in temperature on the track. Also, feeling confident. Zalewski looks confident. I think this is going to be another big score.
So can he top the score of the Irishman Nigel Caspar, or will he drop in just beneath him? The score drops in an 85. Look at that.
It's getting interesting now.
Very interesting.
It's getting interesting now.
And
because
a big statement from Adam Zalewski.
And remember, the two countries fighting out at the top of the Nations Cup are Ireland and Poland, and they sit 1 and 2 in qualifying right now. It's heating up. Next up, it is going to be, though, a very talented homegrown hero.
Yeah.
Ivo Sirulis, the Latvian. He is the 2010 Baltic champion. He is a 4-time Latvian drift champion. And right now, he takes to his home circuit, and look at the confidence straight away in.
Look how close he is to the edge of the circuit, Dave. Unbelievable stuff for Ivo Sirulis as he fires his car in. I have not seen him drive like this all weekend, as Ivo Sirulis looks like a man possessed. The local guy putting it all out there very deep into outer zone. Can this top qualify? And this is unbelievable from Sirulis right now.
Business has just picked up, Ian, as these guys are coming in hot right now. The Latvian driver says, Polish, Irish, this is my hometown. This is how it's done.
Yeah, Ivo Sirulis really stepped on it then and proved a point that homegrown knowledge cannot be undermined as he stepped on that accelerator and piloted that car all the way.
Is it enough, though, Ian? Is it enough to go top? It was a big run. Was it as fast as called first? Maybe not, but there was a bit more style in it, a little bit more angle, you know? Let's see what he's done.
Can he top qualified, Dave?
88, almost. 2 points away from topping qualifying. Goes into second position.
Very, very good there for
The
Ivo
Latvian
Sulis.
crowd enjoying that one.
Very good. So on the line we go back. It's Krzysztof Romanowski, the Polishman. Another guy looking super confident. His teammate, Grzegorz Hipki, took the win in Hungary. Can Romanowski top qualifying? Well, this guy was another guy looking very strong in practice. The bonnet flexing with the speed as he fires this LSX powered E30. And look at this. These guys now, Dave, not messing around.
Absolutely not. Very wide here, though, as he misses that inner zone. It's just thrown him a little bit offline, but he's back out very wide again. These guys, the Drift Warriors, are incredible. Running extreme tires on the rear end of this car, Polish company. And you know what? Another very solid run from them. They're going to be dangerous to come up against later on.
Yeah, very, very confident, very fast cars. But where does that slot Romanowski into qualifying?
I mean, he's had 3 podiums at Drift Masters already in the past last year.
Yeah.
So he is not afraid to go door to door with anybody. He's confident. You can tell that when you talk to the guy. He's a confident driver. Is it enough though to get him right up the leaderboard? I think it's going to be. Yeah, look at that, 82 puts him into 5th position. Romanowski looking strong. We'll be expecting his teammate Grzegorz Hipki, winner of round 2, to head out on the track later on. Here's a man though that needs to turn his season around. Pavel Trela had a disaster at round 2 in not qualifying. Some slippery parts of the track just cost him in that short wheelbase Opel GT. And this is a very unique chassis. 2JZ, so it's a Toyota Supra engine with 860 horsepower thrown into an Opel GT from Germany. And it is like a little, in America we would call this a Pontiac Solstice, if I'm not mistaken. But look at the line from Trela as he absolutely hammers the throttle through that first 2 zones.
Yeah, Pavel Trela looking very strong right now. He's on a very nice line, nice and deep into the outer zone 3 as he transitions back now. Looking for zone 4, gets in it, fulfills it completely as he gets on the wall. Now, very short car, so...
Yeah, when he's on the wall, he's
really on the wall.
Wall. The back of his head is near the wall when he's on the wall in this car. Incredible stuff. Pavel Trela looking back on form, Ian. We've been expecting this to come.
Yeah.
He's a 2-time Polish champion. We expect him to be stepping up. Hasn't had the greatest of starts of the season, but you know, if I had a sneaky side bet going on here,
it would be Pavel Trela.
It might be Trela.
So Pavel Trela's score awaits to be dropped into our system.
I think it's going to be a good one. Yeah, look at that, 85.3 for Pavel Trela. The Polish driver sits into 3rd position, and right now the scores are getting very high.
Yeah, we go back to the start line. Monster Energy sponsored Steve Bagsi Biagioni from the UK sits on the line, smoked his car out after a burnout, and even offers our start line marshal a bottle of water. What a gentleman.
Oh, wow.
What a gentleman.
That's not going to get you any more brownie points, though. You can't bribe your way to the podium here. You can't just, you know, hydrate the staff and hope it's going to work. But it's a brand new car, Ian.
Yeah, brand new build for Bagsi. This is his last year car, was running a V6 last year, a VQ under the bonnet. Now runs a Chevy LSXR 7.4 litre. Look at that, absolutely smokes the tyres off the start line. 700 horsepower. Oh, and problems for Bagsi.
Yeah, it looks like he's having an issue here, Ian, and the car not firing. And of course, this is a new build, so there's going to be teething problems, of course, but they've been under this car quite a bit this weekend, and look, he's actually stopped on the circuit. I'm wondering, does he have a more terminal issue?
Yeah, as he starts to come to a stop, you can see our marshal's just running over.
Not entirely sure what's happened there, and of course the heat on these cars, they were having cooling issues yesterday. They were throwing plenty of water on the car, and it starts up again. Yep. It seemed like the car cut out, so I'm not too sure exactly what happened there. But Bagsi being pushed off the circuit, car seems to be rolling again.
Gets it back into some form of drive.
Gets a
so
zero.
It will be a 0 for Bagsi.
Pressure on for the second run, Ian. Not what he wanted, not position he wanted to be in.
No, not looking good for Bagsi there, but goes back to his pit area, and it will be work for them as we move it along to the next guy on the line. It will be Joe Hutanji, one of the Red Bull Drift brothers.
Yeah, originally from, well, South African descent, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Currently residing in Germany. He is the King of Europe champion 2017, so he's already got a European title under his belt. But where the big boys play here in the Drift Masters European Championship, he's got to go back to the top of that leaderboard. And after some stop-start performances, he looks strong here in Riga.
Yeah, it looks like this fast-flowing circuit works for him. And look at this nice wide line as Joe Hutanji now sends it into clipping point 2. Good commitment as he powers through the centre of the circuit. Looks like he's found a lot of speed in this car from yesterday. Fires it to the wall. Does Joe Hutunji. Big angle, stands on the accelerator and takes it to the outer zone.
Yeah, another one of those drivers having a little sibling rivalry out there on the track with his brother.
Sure, yeah.
Ellie, and of course, as I always say, it is my favorite pickup truck 180SX Galant fronted LSX powered car in the world.
Wow.
Hands down.
That's a thing.
That is an amazing machine. Amazing machine, and those guys are so much fun behind the scenes. Absolute gentlemen.
Yeah.
Real pioneers of the sport. They were taking Max Verstappen and Daniel Ricciardo for passenger laps before the last Formula One race in Hockenheim. That's how cool they are.
That's how cool they are.
That's way cooler than us, Ian.
Nearly.
I'm pretty sure no Formula One driver would ever get a car with us, even a
So
Red Bull.
an 86.7
Wow,
for Joe Hutunji. Wow, look at that. Judges really applauding what he did there.
You
Puts
know
him
what?
into third place.
86.7, that for a first run is impressive.
Very good. So we move back to the line. Kajetan Rutina, the Polish driver.
Keeping it old school, Ian.
Keeping it old school in this Mercedes-Benz 190, but puts in a brand new engine under the hood, Dave, a V8 AMG supercharged motor.
Old school car, new school engine.
Yeah,
Like it.
Like it, yeah. Mixing up a little bit is Kajetan Rutina. Looking good yesterday in practice, this mad styled car. Fires in, just gets shallow though, drops wheels, and he's going to put him on a wrong line now. As Kajetan Rutina's going to have to work really hard to try and claw something back from this big angle, almost over-rotates.
That bump over outer zone 4 really unsettles the cars. You can just see it as Kajetan went through there. Just all four wheels hopping up and down. Unsettles those drivers a little bit. But, you know, awesome car, awesome driver. I think I got a taxi home from Riga on Wednesday night in one of those chassis, but it definitely didn't sound like that.
Definitely didn't sound like that.
No. So he is waiting his score from the judges. Not as technically perfect as Joe Hutunji, who we saw just before that. So I think he's going to just drop a little bit lower, but still room to improve. And a lot of these guys now starting to watch, you know, these live productions of these shows on their phones on the grid, so they can see what everybody else is doing.
How everyone's doing, yeah, exactly. So score drops in there for Kajetan Rutina, and it will be a 45, so it drops him into 29th position. Work to be done there for Kajetan. On his next run, we move it along to the next guy on the line, which will be a local man.
Yanis Iglite, and I'm, you know what, pipped as the favourite.
Yeah, you put your money on this guy early yesterday morning. Yanis Iglite.
Not a lot of money in, because, you know, there's a lot of people here, but he's the local guy. He's won here before.
He looked confident.
And he's, you know, he's a super confident driver. He's got big credentials behind him. He's a 4-time Latvian champion, 2-time Baltic champion. He's finished second place in the European Championship before. We're expecting a big run here from Iglite. Look at the line, threading the needle right to the edge of the circuit.
Yeah, very nice from Iglite so far as he gets that car on a wide line. Just drops shy of clipping point 3 there. He's going to work hard now to get it back on line. Tacks a cone, gets it to the wall. Big angle as he goes over that bump. Stays in the accelerator though, Dave, and powers across the line.
That's what I'm talking about. My money is still safe.
Your money is very safe.
Still in the game, because that is a great run from Yanis Iglite, the hometown hero. You know, a little rivalry with Kristaps Blues here on who, you know, he's gone the European route. Kristaps went the American
route.
And they've had their level of success both ways. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come up against 20 other nations this weekend and how they get on. But I can imagine that's going to be up the business end of things when the scores drop in.
So score drops in for Yanis Iglite. And look at that, an 87.3 drops Yanis Iglite into third position. The Irishman still stands proud on the top of qualifying right now.
Call for speed as on the edge here. There was no handbrake, no corrections, and the judges can hear that full throttle.
Yeah.
And next up on the line is a man who
uses full throttle
all of the
constantly.
time, but it's Andreas Chewbacca, the Lithuanian. He's a huge, huge name in European drifting, but he's not. This is a car he built for just winter beating around the place. It's a practice day car. He replaced 3 engines in his full competition car trying to get to this round, and he had to take the backup car. Well, it's not so bad when your backup car still has 800 horsepower.
Yeah, 800 horsepower, and it's got the full HGK kit on it. And look at this from Vasiliauskas as he gets it to the wall nice and early. A little early for me, really. Didn't get to fulfill that final outer zone, but...
And yesterday, with a permanent marker, he wrote Winter Beater on the back of this car. As in, he said, this is the car he uses in the ice and the snow just to practice. That is a machine. I mean,
I wonder if I can swap my winter beater with his winter beater.
I think yours is about, what, 200?
Mine's about 200 quid, yeah.
200 quid, yeah. I think it's a little bit off.
Yeah,
maybe
cash his way a little bit.
A little bit, I'd say. Maybe all of the cash you ever had. So here we go. It is going to be Andreas Vasiliauskas scoring a 64.3, 15th position. Treble 9 on the side of that car. And, you know, No emergencies yet for
No
him,
emergencies
as he actually does get into the top 32 at the moment. And we move on to our next driver, representing Holland, our only driver from the Netherlands here, which is Sebastian Fontin. You know, he's got a lot of followers. Made a big name for himself last year in the European scene. Came out of nowhere, really. You know, had a small engine, real low budget, but this year he's come back with a crazy 2JZ, 650 horsepower, 750 newton meters of torque. He looks the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a very cool, calm, collective character. Looks good behind the wheel. Didn't look so good in practice on Friday, but you know what, by the end of the session, seems to have got that car to work and got it dialed. Can he put in a top qualifying run? Well, he's definitely going to try, Dave, as Sebastian Fontaine now fires that car. And look at this, nice and wide for Fontaine as he dives across the circuit. Very fast indeed from Fontaine.
Yeah, plenty of speed, plenty of grip,
Oh,
but just
transition too early.
A little early on the transition means he has to readjust the car, misses outer zone 4. And right now doing a good job though, taking across the line. Plenty of potential though.
Yeah.
Looking like he's back to his best. And again, the grip these guys are dialing. If you're new to the sport, if you're watching in for the first time, a lot of people think, oh well, they're trying to spin wheels, so they obviously have like poor tires on the back. They have full racing semi-slicks on the back, running no more than probably 14 psi on the tires to get the maximum
super soft
grip.
suspension.
Super soft, like almost set up like a drag racing car, so that not only are you spinning wheels, but you're keeping momentum while you're doing it and being fast. And look how fast Sebastian was around the track. Enough to score him a 69.7 and put him into 12th position.
Yeah, very nice there for Sebastian Fontaine. We move it along on the line to the second half of the Drift Brothers clan. It will be Eli Hutunji. Comes second to his brother in the King of Europe 2017 champion.
He's not happy about that. And at the moment, he's higher in this championship than last year. So yeah, take that, Joe Hutunji.
Running the same power plant on LSX 454 under the bonnet, 7.4 litre V8, 650 horsepower. And look at this.
That's
nice
the widest line we've seen so far. This is a big run so far. Clinically perfect.
Very nice there from Eli Hutunji, but he gets offline, Dave. He gets massively offline. Now, can he claw it back and try and regain some points he lost in the centre of the circuit?
Oh, got a little bad bump there. You can see the car just unsettled this moment. Did well to hold it. That's a good run from Eli Hutunji. Definitely the best we've seen on the first corner so far in the pinpoint accuracy.
Accuracy, perfect, yeah. But just as he transitioned off a clipping point 2 into that front zone 3, you know, not looking too good, but he will get a score on the board and definitely somewhere he can improve.
I like that run.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the way, you know, Joe got the what? He's right up there in the high 80s. Let's see what Eli scores. I like the little sibling rivalry.
The rivalry is good.
It does. It's a little subplot.
So score drops in for Eli Hutunji, and a 77.3 puts him in 9th position. So outdone by his brother for now.
Do you think that Joe Hutunji will see him in the pits now and put the L sign on his head and say, loser? It's not over yet, though.
Not over yet.
Paweł Korpelinski is our next driver, Polish driver, 23 years of age, drifting since 2015 to see 1M with a 2JZ Toyota motor, 815 horsepower. And look at this aggression to the first car.
Very wide, fulfills all of that outer zone, transitions nice and early now. Just drops one wheel into that front zone, gets into outer zone 3. Now starts to, yeah, he does, you know, it looked like he was going to shallow up, but he managed to extend it ever so slightly and get into outer zone 4.
This is a big
Good
run
for Paweł Korpelinski right now as he takes it over the line.
I'm impressed with that. You know, as you said, he adjusted the car just at the right times to make sure he got to those outer zones. I'm going to expect to see that in the 70s and 80s. Is it a 90? Maybe not.
No, it's definitely a 70s, like you say, a high 70s, low 80s score.
But we don't know.
But what do we know?
We're just,
I've been wrong before.
I remember, I distinctly remember once or twice you've been wrong at this before. I'm not gonna name those times, but
every round
ever you've been wrong quite a bit.
Yeah,
so
a lot.
No offense.
So
let's see which of our Polish drivers heads to the top. Oh, it's an 86.7, 4th position for Paweł.
I'm glad I was wrong, because that was a good run for Paweł Korpelinski.
You were so wrong. Low 80s, he was in the mid-high 80s, so there you go.
We move it along. Torane Kavia sits on the line, the Norwegian hammer.
Yeah, dropping the hammer, and as I said on the pre-show, you do have to drop the hammer here. There's no way you can tentatively approach this track. And Tor, I mean, I had no idea, I'll be honest, who he was 6 months ago. Right now, I have a poster on my wall in my room.
You're a fan.
I'm a big fan.
His last practice run this morning was phenomenal. Can he carry that momentum again as Torane Kavia fires that car, and look how deep he is. Drops a wheel on initiation, keeps in it though. And he is very wide. It's Arne Kavir. Listen to this, absolutely pounding the rev limiter, not lifting off the accelerator. What one bit, Dave, as he transitions onto the wall for the outer zone 5, into 6 and over the line. What a run for Torane Kavir.
He's a hard man on a car, Ian.
Very
hard man on a car.
3 engines this year, 3.
Really? That all?
3 engines.
That all the way he drives?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've done to him, but he absolutely hammered that throttle the whole way around the circuit. Incredible stuff. And he is looking like a championship contender right now, Ian. I'm telling you, the trophy could be going to Scandinavia at the end of this year.
He had a bad turn of luck in Hungary, and you know what? I think he's looking to overturn that here in Latvia right now. So we await the score to drop in for Torane Kavir. Very good run. Could it top qualifying? Well, we're about to find out as it drops in.
It's going to be high.
87.
Yes, Tor Arne Kavir laying it down for the Norwegians with an 87 fourth position. We got a fight in our hands here, Ian.
We definitely have on the line. Your 2017 Irish Drift champion, Jack Shanahan, awaits his qualifying run. Not looking 100%, Dave.
He wasn't all year, but Jack Shanahan can do one thing better than anybody. That's pull it out of the bag, and he has no fear. 18 years of age from Ireland, an two-time UK champion, one-time Irish champion representing Link Engine Management and TriStarts, just tagging the curve a little bit there.
Yeah.
And you can see how much grip they've put into this car, how hard he's having to pedal it to get out there, but a good line from Jack Shanahan as he takes it into that last 2 outer zones. You know what, looking comfortable again.
Yeah,
a little bit of a waiver from 1 to 2, but other than that, looking strong.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than what he was doing yesterday in practice. Just hops a wheel on that curb, so Judge is going to knock his score down ever so slightly. But you know what? Yeah, very, very good there from Jack Shanahan. And like I say, a big improvement for what we've seen all weekend.
Absolutely. Let's see, though, if he will be joining the guys at the top of the leaderboard by the end of qualifying, because that's where Jack Shanahan would expect to be.
Yeah.
And you know what? He actually competed at this circuit when he was 14 years old. I think he was 13 years
Oh,
of
13.
age.
He was 13 years old.
So, I
That's
mean,
right.
it goes to show he's got that little bit of experience, even though he's just 18 years of age. He's been here a couple of times. What is Jack Shanahan going to score? It's an 82 for Jack Shanahan. Judges liking that run.
Yeah.
Into 10th position he goes.
And just going to show you how good the scores are. Top 10 now, all in the 80s. So
wow.
very
And
good
that's only
scores.
the first half of qualifying.
And we move it along on the line. David Karkoshik sits on the line. This guy, a whole host, Dave, of wealth of knowledge and trophies under his belt.
But he had a whole host of mechanical gremlins in practice. The car not running very well, lots of issues, but let's hope that is all back together now as he heads towards that first corner at over 100 miles an hour. A little weight transfer, nice initiation.
Wow.
Look at Karkoshik.
Yeah, very, very deep into that outer zone as Karkoshik stands on it. 800 horsepower, RB25 under the bonnet. Nice. Does he fulfill all of outer zone 3? He doesn't. Now he's going to have to work hard to get to 4. Yeah, look at that. Letting the car wash to fulfill the zone. Gets it back on a nice line. As he transitions back into 6, Karkoshik stands on the accelerator and powers it across the line. Ex-teammate to
Peter Viansek.
Peter Viansek and James Dean last year, going alone this year. And
yeah, definitely the pinkest car on the grid.
Definitely the pinkest. And that car always takes on a serious amount of damage but comes back every round immaculate.
Yeah, he must have done a group buy on like 17
Tail
body
lights,
kits
boot
because
lids.
he goes in hard every round.
So
let's see where Karkoshik goes. 83.3. He'll be happy with that with the day he had yesterday in practice. 10th position so far.
Yeah, we move it back to the line where we see a guy who come out of nowhere this season. Enver Haskasap, the Cypriot driver. S15, 2JZ, 1,000 horsepower, the Drift New driver, big impact in Hungary. The guy's got the car back together. Now this car's so soft that it picks up one of the front wheels on transition as Enver Haskasap fires the car. Oh!
Has a double initiate
double
there.
Initiate, yeah, not good for Haskasap as he gets it onto the curb. Look at that, just pops the front wheel.
He's doing wheelies out there, Ian. He's got that much grip, but he's gone very wide. And you know what? He cleaned up the second half of that run really nicely.
Yeah, he's got this back down, Dave, as he gets it onto the wall now. One more transition to go, and one more out of zone as he takes it over the line. Yeah, I mean, listen, if it wasn't for that double initiation, it could have been a strong run for Haskasaps.
But you know what? He's put them in the last 2 rounds. I'm expecting big things from him.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of time in the off-season to dial that car in and dial in his own driving style too. And the improvements have shown to go from almost 0 to hero in the off-season and now be considered one of the best drivers on this grid.
Yeah. So we wait the score to drop in there for Enver Haskasap. And a 69 there for Enver Haskasap, drops him into 19th position for the moment. As we keep going, we move it along to the OG in Polish drifting. It will be Bartosz Stalowski. This guy
1,100 horsepower.
Just 1,100.
He has got a Bugatti Veyron and a Ford Fiesta bolted inside that car.
LS2 turbo under the bonnet. 50 podiums in his 12-year career. I'm sure that guy has got multiple trophy cabinets as Bartosz Stelowski fires that S14 in.
Great line so far.
Yeah, very, very tidy so far from Stelowski. Now, can he stay out nice and wide? He can. Very calculated driver is Stelowski. And always, once it can, but wobble there, had to make a big steering correction coming into the outer zone 4.
Lots of angle though as he puts on a show through those last two outer zones, and across the line he goes. I like that run.
Yeah, very, very nice.
It was very, you know, you could see the confidence and the experience there. A big angle, but not wavering the steering wheel. Really smooth.
Yeah.
Using every bit of that 1,100
He's
horsepower.
such a technical driver.
He
you
is.
know, it's like he's pinpoint accurate. So
and he was on for a big podium. He came fourth at Hungary. I thought he was going to top that round.
yeah.
So, you know, you sleep on him at your peril.
Yeah, I mean, look, he looks strong at this round. Can we see him go all the way? Well, we need to see where he lands in qualifying first as we await the score to drop in for Bartosz Stelowski. And an 81 drops Bartosz into 13th position as we go back to the start line to our next competitor.
You know what? I'm looking at it now as it goes along. The safe runs ain't going to cut it. You're going to have to get up into the high 70s and 80s to even give yourself a chance.
Yeah, exactly. We move it to the Finnish driver off the line, Juha Poitalaksko.
Yeah, he's another guy who's had a huge success. Finnish champion, European Drift GP champion, 900 horsepower under the bonnet. 4 Series fronted, but it's actually a 92.
Yeah, listen to this. Poitalaksko stands on the accelerator. 900 horsepower S50 turbo.
This is a big run in. He's going for it
Very
here.
big.
This could top qualifying.
Whoa,
Look at the
very
angle.
deep into the outer zone. And deep across the line as Poitalaksko comes to prove to point.
That's a contender for top spot. He was so aggressive, full throttle through the whole course, wide, gangster wall run.
Yep.
Finished in style, pardon the pun. And for me, maybe just did it there. I thought it was exciting.
It was a very, very good run.
I'm not sure where the judges are going to pull him back there for a lot. You know, now we could be wrong as usual, but I think that's going to be rewarded heavily.
Yeah, you know what? Not a whole lot wrong there. So, do the judges think it is what we thought it was, Dave, or was it just our excitement? No, they don't agree with us, Dave. A 78 there puts him into 14th position.
We were looking at the angle and smoke again, Ian.
We had the golden buzzer moment.
We were like, golden buzzer. He's big smoke, big angle, but he actually missed some zones when the judges were looking at it. So what do they know?
What do they know? We move it along the line. It will be Paweł Borkowski, the Polish driver.
One of my favourites on the grid.
Yeah, your guy off the line.
Love this guy's driving style. Look at that little flick. So much confidence at 100 miles an hour to turn the steering wheel. And look at that line right to the edge. Absolutely pinned to the first 2 sections of the course. Now can he tidy it up here at the end, stay wide. Oh, has to kind of adjust a little bit to stay out there.
Yeah, has to let the car wash massively to get into the outer zone 4. Gets it into 5, and he's very, very wide now as he transitions back onto 6 and over the line. Paweł Borkowski, yeah, the guy to beat James Dean in Poland before, you know.
He did.
Very good confident
Never let
driver.
James Dean forget it.
No, never. I am never going to let James Dean forget
every time I see James Dean, I'm like, oh,
Paweł Borkowski.
He beat you.
He's my friend.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. We don't have much conversation. He doesn't speak much English, but he understands the appreciation I have for his driving style, so that's pretty much all that matters. So he will put a score on the board. 2JZ 700 horsepower on the bottom of that. A very similar car to James Dean's as well.
Very similar.
83, and that's where he wants to be. Right in the mix, 11th position.
There's actually a story about that. I did hear that Paweł Borkowski tried to buy James Dean's S14. James said, no chance. So he copied the car and built his own one.
Really?
Yeah.
And it worked out great.
And it works out good for him. Off the line though.
It's the round 2 winner, Grzegorz Hipki, representing Extreme Tires LSX 454, 600 horsepower E30 BMW. We're getting to the top 3 in the championship now. He's currently sits in 3rd. Look at this, up over the curb, still stays in it.
Yeah, this is very good from Grzegorz Hipki right now. This guy looking super confident all day in practice. Look at the pace he carries through outer zone 4, back onto the wall. It's a big run. This is going to be a big score for Grzegorz Hipki as he comes across the line.
Yeah, I mean, the Polish came to play this weekend.
Yeah,
I think he's flying that flag higher than anybody else in that Polish team right now. Won round 2. I think he's, continuing as he stopped. Incredible run.
Yeah, very, very good stuff there for Grzegorz Hipki. Can he take an Irishman off the top step of qualifying No one's phased.
Yeah, Nigel Caspar, ice cold, stone cold. Nigel Caspar sitting on the top of the leaderboard. But will he be unsettled by Andreas Chewbacca? I like that run. Let's see if it's enough to beat Nigel Caspar.
Oh, wow. 89.7 drops Andreas Chewbacca into second place.
0.3 away.
Wow.
I'd be annoyed if I was him.
He's a big angry man anyway.
He is.
I wouldn't want to upset him.
What's a 0.3? Next up, we move along to the second place in the championship right now. It's the Irishman, Conor Shanahan. 15 years of age, still in school. 600 horsepower-ish. High 500s, 2JZ, and a nice weight transfer entry there. A little bit of a handbrake to adjust it. Just dropping off that wide line, Ian.
Yeah, not as wide as what we'd like to see. Young Conor Shanahan, but he makes it work. Doesn't fulfill all of that out of zone 3. Needs to get into 4, just tags the edge of the box with a rear wheel. This isn't going to be the best score for Conor Shanahan, but points on the board right now is all he needs as he takes it over the line.
Yeah, I think he's going to struggle for power here this weekend, Ian. That car just at its limits, you can see coming through the first 2 corners. They've put every amount of grip they can into it. They've tried to make it as fast as possible, but it's a big task. And I mean, when I was 15 years of age, I don't think I'd ever even been in a car at 100 miles an hour. Never mind being in control of the car. So
I hadn't even drove a car. I don't think I've driven a car at that age.
Yeah, you haven't improved much since, Ian. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, put it out there. Conor Shanahan, a better driver than Ian Waddington at half his age. And let's see what he scores first half of qualifying. Let's see if he can go up towards the top end. As we said, a couple of errors along the Ian. And 82.7, though.
Still a respectable score.
Very respectable score for Conor Shanahan there. And 13th position is where he goes.
Yeah, and we move it along to the final car of our first runs of the day.
Well, he's good friends with Nigel Caspar. He may not be after the next 40 seconds because he may take another one of his friends off top spot. Another Irishman, James Dean, the current Formula Drift champion, Guinness Book of World Records holder, the accolades. He has a whole room in his house dedicated to trophies, and this is why, because he comes in right on the edge. You can see a left foot braking through the first corner and absolutely tearing through the course at full throttle is James Dean. Big angle transition there as he takes it to the outer zones and back towards the wall, just tagging that blue and teal car onto the rear end, or onto the wall rather, as James Dean, the current championship leader. He's currently leading the championship in Europe and the USA right now, between Drift Masters, European Championship, and Formula Drift. But will he lead the qualifying here when it's all said and done? We're used to seeing him up towards the top. That looked like a very good technical run to me. But was it perfect? Maybe not.
I think he dropped wheels over that inner clip. Putting it all out there.
Big statement, Ian.
Yeah, I'm putting it out there. Judges are deliberating this one, so you know that it's either going to be a big score or not as big as what you think. For me, technically, I don't think it had what Colfer's had, personally.
I think Nigel Caspar was as good as it gets.
Yeah,
I think it was a perfect run. And so basically, it could be even bigger.
Could be either way. Could be massive, could be low. What's it going to be? Where does James Dean land?
I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to go big. 95.7. Oh, he does it again, Ian. Does it again.
The machine James Dean comes in and tops qualifying.
He was definitely on charge last night here in the pits. I walked by. He had 2 chargers.
2 charges.
And he was at about 83% when I left. So he was definitely on 100 score and came out there. Wow, what a run.
Perfect run there.
95.7, 2 Irish at the top. Excuse me. And Hipke in third.
Yeah, we move it back to the line though for our second bout of qualifying runs as we see Galen Christiansen.
You guys got some smoke there, you know? It's dangerous out here. Look at we got a big understeer moment here, Ian.
Oh, that was a big moment there for Galen Christiansen. Almost went way off circuit. You know what?
It sounds like the car wasn't on power at all.
Yeah, he right now has a pretty decent score in the bag, so.
But there's definitely a mechanical issue there, Ian. It just sounded like the car was misfiring really badly in front of us. I'm not going to diagnose an engine problem from this distance, but he had no drive. And as he went to go on the power through the first run, well, there you go.
Wow, but he sits in 46th position.
Yeah, so he is out of the competition. He didn't even have a good score for the first run.
No, I confused him with someone else.
You confused him. Well, you would have got it. It's kind of, from my perspective anyway, you're not a mathematician.
No.
By any means.
No,
so.
definitely not.
No. So there you have it. He is eliminated from the competition. Unfortunately, a Romanian driver bows out, and that's what's going to happen from now on. We are going to see drivers eliminated if they don't get those scores on the board.
Yeah, as we move it along to the next guy on the line, it will be Christiansen. Nice and fast so far, but using the handbrake there, to try and adjust that car as he comes through that front zone. Not what the judges want to see, the big wobble there as he comes into the outer zone 4. Slows the car down massively as he gets it onto the wall. And Christiansen takes it over the line.
Yeah, not the prettiest of runs there. It was a good attempt. He went in there with a lot of speed, a lot of aggression, but from where I'm sitting, didn't really do it. Look, we've seen some big runs go in now, Ian. We know what the judges are looking for. We know the criteria they're working to. And you know what? If you're going to make any slight errors, this is nothing a reflection of good or bad driving now. It's just about who can get the line right at the right time.
Yeah. So we await the score to drop in there for Christiansen.
Yeah, another driver eliminated.
Yeah, same score as last time, so no improvement at all.
And look at that, 2 solid runs around this crazy circuit, and it's still not enough.
Still not enough. We keep it going though. It will be Ingus Jakobsen, the Latvian driver, looking to find himself inside our top 32.
Yeah, crazy machine this, Ian. Big BMW to throw around this track.
Yeah, big BMW E34 V8 turbo under the bonnet. Wide flap suspension, very nice and wide there as he fires that car through clipping point 2 now. Gets out wide on that inner zone 3 and out deep into the outer zone.
Yeah, but he had to kind of just slow up a little bit to try and make it work, and it is working. It's a good run.
And he takes it over the line.
We're starting to see the confidence grow out there on the grid.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone's watched all the previous qualifying runs. Everyone knows now where they need to be at as these guys start firing through. But is it enough to find himself inside top 32? Well, we wait for his score to drop in before we find out.
Yeah, judges deliberating a little bit on that one. I don't know. It had some messy moments, but I think if you look at the clipping zones that he collected there, it should get him every bit of that technical score up. He wavered a little bit, but again, you know, sometimes the judges reward that, you know, a waiver's okay, you know, it docks you some points, but yeah, look at improvement, 75.7. You sometimes can have some aggression that balances it out. So he has a lot of aggression, had some mistakes, but he still manages to balance out in a 75.7. Next up.
Yeah, Bartosz Ostalowski.
From Krakow in Poland, R34 LS3. Everything is prepared for this car for driving with your feet. It's all on hand controls. You know where the gearbox from this car is from?
No.
It's from a Rolls-Royce Ghost.
So as he comes off the line, yeah, everything on this car operated by his foot, foot-controlled car.
It just blows me away. I still try and figure this out.
If you see an in-car of this guy drive, he drifts with his 1 foot on the steering wheel, 1 foot on the accelerator and brake.
And it's his shoulder, right, for the handbrake?
Yeah, and he uses his shoulder for the handbrake. This is not a bad run. I don't think it's going to be, and he shuts it down.
It's just that section of the track is causing, because I think that's a drop in gear there.
Yeah.
And it's just a tight section. It's just been a sort of suffering there all weekend, just with, you know, obviously it's a difficult car to drive, but at the same time, it's also a difficult track. So, you know, incredible stuff. I was saying just the gearbox from a Rolls-Royce Ghost in that car. Can you believe that? Incredible.
Crazy.
That is just, I mean, he's been featured on the Grand Tour with Richard Hammond, and, you know, they were blown away by his ability. You know, it's just incredible to see guys like him not at any sort of disadvantage, become a disadvantage and stay out there and use your skill. And again, drifting is a skill sport. You know what I mean? So it goes to show no matter what disadvantage you have, you can still get out here and compete with the best. But a 57 will leave him in 35th position, just outside the top 32.
Yeah, not what we wanted to see, but we keep moving along to a man who has a 0, a
I don't
local
believe
guy.
this.
Kristaps Blues sits on the line.
Well, a 0, Ian.
A 0.
For the man that practically works 27 feet from the circuit here.
Yeah,
he's got to come in hot.
He needs to make it all count right now as Blues fires that E46 HGK space frame car in, and this is the Kristaps Blues we was waiting to find out, but he drops that outer zone 3, Dave, completely drops out of zone 3 now, gets back online. Look at him working the steering wheel inside that car as he stands on the accelerator and smokes those Achilles radial tyres and takes it over the line.
Yeah, he says it's more of a fun car for him than a competition car. It's the car that they developed a lot of the newer cars from, and it's you know, it's definitely good to go. But he missed a couple of zones on that run there, especially the inner zone 1, just, you know, pushing very wide and it's going to hurt his score a little bit there, I think. And let's see if he can do enough to get into the top 32 battles. That's where we want to see him. 24th position will have to do for now with a 69.7. That's a worrying score for Christoph Spus.
Yeah, exactly. Not where he'd want to be sitting, that's for sure. We move it to Francesco Conti on the line, the Italian. The VR38 powered S13 14 hybrid.
One of the most experienced drivers on the grid. He's been all over Europe competing for many years, Ian. And you know, that car, we had a look around it, immaculately prepared.
Very, very well built car. And the guys from Flash Tech do a phenomenal job as he comes off the line. What has Francesco Conti got? As you can hear the anti-lag banging. Stands on the accelerator, gets nice and wide, big angle transition from Conti. Sits in 34 for the moment with a 59, so he has work to do if he's going to try and improve. And this is nice, and wheels both up on that curb as he gets into the outer zone, but completely
gets it all
drops,
wrong there, Ian. Yeah, on the wrong side of the track, not what we wanted to see. And he made a couple of errors there, hitting that curb through him big time away from that line. And not what we wanted to see from Francesco Conti. We saw some great practice runs, and you know, it looked very confident. But it shows that one small error here, poof, and you could just lose half this circuit.
So we await the score for Francesco Conti to drop in a 59 on his previous run. He needs to improve on that to find himself inside that top 32.
I think he'll maybe improve, but I'm not sure how much. Judges await the scores to drop in, and it goes to show all that experience still puts him outside the top 32. Wow, and it does improve to a 60.7, but you know what? One of the most respected drivers in the game, falling at this early stage, showing how difficult it is there. More so, the standard that's out there.
Exactly. So we go back to the line where we do see this man. Harold Valdemar sits on the line, the Estonian, winner of the 2017 HGK Challenge, right here in Riga in Latvia. This guy put on a phenomenal run and absolutely blew me away with his first one. What has he got in the second one? As he comes off the line, smashing through the gears, Valdemar fires that E46 carbon Kevlar HG car gearing. Look at this from Valdemar again. Oh, Will on the curb. Very good stuff from Harold Valdemar.
What angle he just carried there. Incredible.
Look at this, fulfilling all of the outer zones now. Gets deep onto the wall, big full throttle transition as he takes it over the line. Can that top qualifying? What a run there from Harold Valdemar.
It would get my vote. That would get my vote. He smoked the place out. The angle he carried in front of the grandstand was ridiculous.
It was the full throttle transition from 2 through to that outside zone 3. He just kept the car pinned, no steering corrections. Phenomenal.
I think that could go top.
That doesn't challenge James Dean.
It was exciting, and the angle was better.
Yeah.
Maybe wasn't as technical, but is that important? It probably is to the judges. To me, it's like, look at Jim Ollison, and it's like a Lego set down there, Ian.
He's currently got his car in bits. They're trying to rebuild it. They got grinders and welders and suspension components.
Even if they don't complete that car, what an attempt to try and get it ready. Looks like they're getting suspension back on that car, though. And they've fixed some of those issues, but they're fixing them on every corner and roof and everything on that car. So incredible stuff.
Yeah, they've got Portal Power there pushing the car back into shape as we await Harold Valdemar's score to drop in.
Yeah, and Harold's score is going to be a big one as far as I'm concerned. I think that's going to be a big score. I'm hoping that he challenges at the top. He looks like a guy that's ready for battle action.
So, scores.
What's he scored? It's going to be big. Oh, it's a 90. It's a second place. Yeah, not bad at all. So you know what? He's going to be right up there when it's all said and done this evening.
He certainly is, Dave, as we move it along to Andreas Chewbacca, Lithuanian driver, Lithuanian champion, S54 turbo under 1,000 horsepower, representing IRP. Messed it all up on his first run. Needs to make this one count. Very wide initiation from Chewbacca. As he now starts to put it together. This looking a lot better than his first run. Dave stands on the accelerator now, starts to get to outside. Oh, drops wheels though. And another driver catching that curb, putting themselves offline.
It's just so difficult out there, Ian. As far as I'm concerned, we've spoke about it many a time already on the broadcast today, that how much one mistake can cost you your whole weekend.
Yeah.
And it's showing out there. The guys, if they just clip that curb, it's so high. Even the clip curb rather, as they come through the second corner. You can see it hop the rear end of the car so viciously that you're doing that at 90 miles an hour plus. The back two wheels come off the ground,
floor,
then hit the ground again with full wheel speed of maybe 130 miles an hour. That's a difficult thing to control.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, one small thing like that in a car completely upsets the balance. And look at that, a 65.7 gets Andreas Chewbacca into 29th position for the moment. As we move it along back to the line, it will be Mikkel Norman Torps, the Estonian driver, North European champion, and AIM Cola driver.
Coming out of the box, very aggressive there, even a little bit of a snaky run up to the first corner. Look at that late initiation, staying wide, doing exactly what the judges want him to do. Will he stay on the track? He will.
Yeah, very nice use of that outer zone, fulfilled it completely. This could be a good score so far for Mikkel Torps. Very deep into outer zone 4. Nice transition back onto the wall now as he stands back on the accelerator. Mikkel Torps has come to play this weekend, Dave, as he takes it over the line.
Another new driver to us, Ian, but after those two runs, I'm telling you, this guy's a contender.
Yeah, exactly. That guy not messing around this weekend.
But will he put in a score good enough to guarantee him top 32 battle action later here today? Of course, that's when things heat up. We are live around about 3:30. That is Eastern European Central Time. Check your listings. You can actually go on the Drift Masters Facebook page. We've got a world map there. If you're not too sure where it is in your local region, you can just check it out there. Let's see what the scores are. And Todd scores an 85.7. Wow.
Jumps himself right up the order into 10th place, and he's going to be looking confident. And someone to keep your eye on as we move through top 32. We go back to the line, and look at this.
Ahmed Daham.
Ahmed Daham gets the car fixed, back on the line, and he is going to put in a pass of his lifetime right now.
Has to do it here. Has to do it.
Oh, look at the aggression as Ahmed throws it in. Daham now stands on the accelerator, not as wide as what we'd like to see him, but he's very aggressive as he carries a lot of speed through outer zone 3. That anti-lag banging as he throws on a big angle transition, but it messes up his line.
Yeah, it could be a diff ratio problem here for Ahmed Daham because he has missed a couple of those zones. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough, Ian, and I know he only had one run to get it done. He went in as hard and as fast as he could, but of course you can see it from your screens that those outer zones have to be hit to score those maximum points, and he missed quite a few, especially on the first corner and towards clipping zone, the outer clipping zone 4.
Yeah, so Daham now hangs in the balance, whether he can find himself a place inside top 32 or not. The judges'
it'll be close. If he does, I think it'll be close.
Very close. If not 32nd place, wasn't a high scoring run. So the score drops in for Ahmed Daham. And look at that, 64, 32nd place.
You called it, Ian.
I called it.
It's the first time you've been right all year. 32nd position, Ahmed Daham jumps in, and that's a nail-biting place to be. He's on the drop zone.
Very dangerous place for him to sit.
And a lot of drivers have a second run to go here.
Yeah, we're moving along. Juha Rittinen right now sits on the line at the Finnish ex-Formula D driver, 2JZ S15.
He's super fast, but can he be super technical on this run?
This is what he needs to be. He's very wide on that initiation. Big angle, but not as wide out. And transitions too early, hops the curb. He's going to be in the gravel. Almost into the wall goes Juha Rittinen as he shuts it down.
He got away with that one because I thought that was definitely carnage. He lost complete control of the car. The front wheels went off the ground on the curb on the inside of the corner, hopped the car up. He had no steering whatsoever and just kept the throttle planted to the floor and just about sort of plowed his way out of the gravel trap, which did its job and kept him out of that tire wall, but it's not going to help his score. It's going to be a 0, I think, from the judges.
Yeah, and there is made it official, a 0. Still sits in 27th position, but it's a sketchy wait for Juha Rittinen as we make our way through qualifying. Track officials just making sure that the circuit is good to go, just realigning some cones as we see Dmitry Ilyuk on the line. Dmitry Ilyuk, just 2 runs of this circuit, Dave.
He's got a lot of work to do here because remember, he's come in here with 1 practice run for the whole weekend. He's done his first qualifying run to feel things out. He's growing into each run, but he hasn't any more time. He has to get it done on this one. 40 seconds for the Monster Energy driver to get himself into the top 32. Any mistakes here, and it's been another unfortunate weekend for Dmitry Ilyuk, but with experience like he has, that crazy motor under the bonnet, he has the machinery to do it, he has the experience to do it, but right now in 40 seconds, anything can happen.
Exactly, so Ilyuk currently sits in 41st position. He needs to pull it out the bag right now. He gets the thumbs up, and they are off the line.
Oh,
Dimitri
Stewart
Ilic.
die now, Ian. He's got to make it happen.
Yeah, he has to make it happen right now. What has Ilic got as he fires that car in? He's nice and high and stays out very wide, almost fulfilling all of that outer zone. This is a lot nicer from Dimitri Ilic. On first look, very shallow though, doesn't fulfill outer zone 3.
And again, middle of the circuit there, and it's going to hurt his line here as he comes to the wall a little bit too early and away from the clipping zone too early. And just a little untidy on the wrong side of the circuit at the end of the track as well. That, you know, as I always said, Ian, we're not experts, but, you know, even for, you guys at home who are sort of playing the judging game at home, it's a fun game to play with all the family.
Yep.
Pick the scores yourselves. Can you start learning how these guys are being judged? You're going to know that he's missed a couple of those zones on the outside of the track and made some incorrect line decisions, which is going to hurt his score badly. Is it enough to get him into the top 32? Well, you know, it's not a high bar set there right now, but it's getting higher as time moves on.
Yeah, exactly. So we await the score to drop in there for Dimitri Ilic.
Still one of the coolest cars, though, irregardless.
Yeah, regardless.
Any car that shoots 4 flames out of the front of the car with me is okay. 61.7 is not enough, Ian. He sits in 35th position, and that's all she wrote for Dimitri Ilic at this stage of the competition.
Yeah, Filippo Perini now sits on the start line. Another guy that needs to make it all work right now, the Italian. With a very poor first run, Dave. Needs to pull it all out of the bag. Big issues. Like he says, got that car figured out last night in the street parade. Can he fulfill one qualifying run and find himself inside top 32? As Filippo Perini now fires that car in. Oh, and a sketchy transition.
Almost sounds like he's running out of gear there.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the car has any more to give there.
It's still the craziest MX-5 I've seen in Europe so far.
Ever.
But again, a couple of little waivers. Oh, and he straightens up right at the finish line, almost doesn't complete the run.
Yeah.
Very strange finish there, just came off the throttle and sort of looked like he reinitiated or pulled the handbrake again to get that car sideways again, just at the end. And of course, you can't get away from anything with the judges. And Jim Olofsson, he's got panels everywhere. There's a window going in there. I think they might have built a new car here, Ian, by the amount of parts they have. And I mean, how much time has he got before his run? Not a lot of time by the looks of things.
Not a lot of time. No, Jim Olofsson really has 5 or 6 drivers ahead of him.
They're taping up the window and all the cracks in the window. There you go, 60.3, not enough for Filippo Perini, the Italian. Will finish his weekend there in that crazy MX-5, not making it into the top 32. Now here's a man we didn't see on the first run.
No, Sergei Kremets now makes his way to the run. The Ukrainian CLK V8 under the bonnet. This guy, very cool car, having issues.
And looks, is he on full throttle? It looks like he might be coming in quite slowly here. A late initiation there.
Very late, yeah. It looks like the car just not picking up the speed, but it looks like it's working right now as he fires that car into outer zone 2. Big clutch kicks for Kremets.
He's going very wide here and does just drop a wheel into that outer zone, but a big angle to slow the car down. Exciting run here, Ian. Not technically perfect, but good to see him back out there after the mechanical issues he's had.
Listen, very, very upsetting not to see him in his first qualifying run, but like you say, a few issues on that run, not technically correct, but you know what, some good impact and made for some good viewing.
Absolutely. What will he score for the judges? Will it be enough to put him into that top 32 bracket? It's not, you know, the score is getting the bar being set very high, Ian, as we expected.
So judges just discussing it between themselves. As soon as we get that score dropped in, it will appear on your screens.
I still can't believe Jim Olofsson is in there trying to fix that car.
And it looks
crazy.
like...
Let's see what the score, though, is. For Sergei Kremets, it's at 30. It's not enough. It's not enough to get him into the top 32. Wow, another big name eliminated at this stage of the competition. But of course, these drivers know when they look around that driver briefing in the morning, it isn't going to be an easy day at the office. And Caspar Christiansen takes to the line now. Caspar, the Danish driver, 2JZ E46, 720 horsepower, and he is coming in hot here, full speed.
Yeah, very, very confident. It's Caspar Christiansen. Drops wheels though on that chevron, so going to have bled some points with his score, but gets it back together again and just drops the wheels over that front zone. Big angle transition, could mess up his line, yeah, and it does. Slows him down too much, doesn't manage to get into all those
He almost lost control there at the end towards the end. A very wild finish to the run from Caspar Christiansen. Plenty of excitement, but just not exactly what the judges are looking for. Just to think about it, Ian, on the first corner. I mean, naturally, the car wants to take the racing line or the apex of that corner.
Yep.
Judges pushing them to the absolute outside of the
Edge,
corner.
yeah.
No other motorsport would push you to that edge of the circuit. It's always about being on the inside curb. And that first corner, very unnatural. It's catching a lot of guys by dropping wheels on the inside.
Yeah, the car, and it's on camber ever so slightly, so it's trying to push the car towards the centre of the circuit as well. So, yeah, not an easy task to get all the way out there, but guys do make it happen. And we've seen some big scores so far. So, Caspar Christiansen's score yet to drop him.
Look at the beautiful backdrop here, though. All those beautiful.
Yeah, and a 61.
Oh.
So, unfortunately, that is the end of the weekend there for Caspar Christiansen.
Another driver going home. And again, not bad runs being put in here, but it's just the standard set so high.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the Danish driver, Caspar Christiansen, not enough to see him in the top 32 battle action. Moving along now to Dennis Hansen.
Yeah, Dennis Hansen piloting the Silvia S15 2JZ 850 horsepower. Like you said earlier, Dave, talented motocross rider, gave it up because he felt more safer sitting in a drift car.
Well, I mean, we've seen a car roll over on its roof. I don't know how safe it is here in Drift Masters GP. Knocks a cone as he comes through the chicane, won't hurt him too much in qualifying. Dennis Hansen now throwing that car into the first corner. And you see how unnatural it is to try and stay on that wide line. Pushes him sort of towards the middle. It gets back on line there. Nice through clipping zone 2. And he is on full maximum attack here. Car giving it everything with a little handbrake there just to push a little bit wider. Misses that outer zone and tidies it up. Can he finish in style here?
Yeah, looks like a nice finish to the run, but like you say, just fails to get out to that outer zone 4, and having to use the handbrake to slow the car down. Judge is going to have knocked his score down for that.
So we await the score for Dennis Hansen, the Danish driver. It is a 69. Does not improve on his first score. Ian stays in 21st position. Is that safe enough? It looks mid-pack right now. Could be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, listen, it's dangerous weight for Dennis Hansen, but his brother now sits on the line.
Yep,
Jimmy Hansen. As we see.
He's one of the best known Danish drifters out there. He's been in the game a long time. Really made a name for himself back in 2010 when he came onto the scene. 8 years later, he's here at the top of European drift competition and hoping to get himself a spot in that top 32 in this E36 BMW M3 Turbo, 865 horsepower. Look at this, right to the edge of the circuit.
Very good commitment from Jimmy Hansen right now as he fires that car in. Can he fulfill that outer zone? He doesn't. Another driver not getting out to that outer zone 3. Completely messes up their line, and like you see, just about drops wheels into outer zone 4.
Good run other than that, though, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a shame he didn't manage to work it all the way out to 3, because it could have been a good run.
I still think this is a big score. I mean, to be honest, he fulfilled almost all of the zones on the track, had the speed, had the aggression, has probably the best run we've seen Jimmy put in all weekend. So when it matters, it matters. And right now, he's putting a score on the board. Can he outdo his brother? Firstly, can he get himself into the top 32?
Yeah, that sibling rivalry playing havoc with our scores, and look at that.
There you go.
77 on his second run, drops him into 21st position. A nervous wait to make sure he doesn't get dropped out, but
both of the Hansen brothers into the mid-pack order there, so that's good for them. Christian Erlandsen, our next driver, Swedish driver, looked great on his first run.
Looked very, very good on his first run.
Actually, I said it was a GT86, actually a Subaru
yeah, Subaru
There's
BRZ.
not that much difference, but you know.
There's enough.
It's blue,
Purists.
I suppose. The purists will need to know. It's a 2JZ 932 horsepower. This thing is crazy from top to bottom and has plenty of grunt to get himself around this very fast track. Late initiation, not a lot of angle, but it's the right line in.
Yes.
Oh no, too much angle maybe.
Oh, he makes it work though, Dave. Yeah, a very big aggression. And again, another driver not fulfilling that outer zone 3. It messes up the line completely, as you can see now. Christian Erlandsen failing to fulfill all these outer zones.
But I mean, again, another driver who's looks to the confidence to go in at that speed. His rear wheel is about half a foot from righting the car off by clipping the grass on the first corner, going into that concrete wall. That's how narrow the margin for error is here. And to show that commitment on the first corner, judges are obviously rewarding that, but they're also expecting it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Oh, and a 73.7 there for Christian Erlandsen, finds him in 25th position for the moment. Fingers crossed it's enough. This guy not having a lucky break so far in competition this season, but we move it along to our next guy, Kane Pisani. Kane Pisani having a big understeer issue on his first qualifying run.
Yeah, just couldn't get the car to drift at all. I mean, it was sort of like they had so much grip dialed into that car that it started becoming an issue, and the car wouldn't actually go sideways.
Well, it looks like they may have got it figured out, because he's back on the line. What has Kane Pisani got? Can he make it work this time, Dave? Well, he needs to. Oh, and again, a little bit of an issue. Has to reinitiate now, and the same Grenvin again.
That's 4 wheels over that inside zone. I think that's going to be a 0 there for Kane Pisani. Judges saying, you know, 2 wheels off the circuit there is a 0, and right now that was definitely 4, it looked like to me. Oh, and just a little waiver as he comes through the last section. Does tidy the run up nicely, but it's that first corner, I think that's going to be the killer for him on that score, because those white chevrons, that's off circuit essentially. It's on circuit, but it's off the drift circuit.
Yeah.
It's indicated to stay beyond those. Especially makes the, a 0, as mentioned, for Kane Pisani. Does not put a score on the board. We move on to our next driver. It is going to be Mikael Overgaard, Danish driver. As we mentioned before, been around the world and done a lot of crazy stuff. And even voted the most exciting driver in the Nürburgring Drift Cup in 2017. Certainly exciting. We saw him hit some tire bales yesterday, but looking good here in qualifying so far.
Yeah, as Mikael Overgaard fulfills that full outer zone. Look at this, absolutely flat is Mikael Overgaard, but again, another driver not managing to get all the way out to that outer zone 3, and it completely upsets the balance and the line. Look at this, almost over rotates and finds himself in a sticky situation trying to get to the finish line.
Yeah, and I mean, that last section is just wall to wall.
You don't want to be getting it wrong there. No, you don't want to be over-rotating coming into that wall.
No, if you over-rotate anywhere there, you're going to hit a wall. Like, there's no way of slowing the car down. So people are just kind of holding on there a little bit at the end, trying to get across that finish line and sort of take a breather and say, I'm still alive.
I'm still alive.
Car's still okay. Did we score enough? So we wait for the scores from Mikael Overgaard to drop in from our judges. We're making our way through the order here at Drift Masters Round 3 in Riga, Latvia. It is the Champions League of European Drifting. Drivers from 21 nations represented, over 20 champions on the grid. And a lot of those, it's bruised egos after qualifying. Ian has an 80.7.
Wow.
Big run.
Mikael Overgaard steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the park.
You know
Gets
what?
himself in the game, Dave.
Judges liked that run. It was a little wayward, but it was fun to watch.
It was fun, yeah, as we see Kim Mathiasen now step up. Can he make his mark on top 32 grid? Well, we're about to find out.
Really cool looking car, guys, with a great setup in the paddock too.
Yeah.
Very professional team. But that, look at that wide line.
Yeah, as Kim Mathiasen now finds that wide line, gets into that wide line on the outer zone as well again, but just
you know, I think the transition from corner, oh, he's gone wide here. Oh,
wow.
He nearly went straight into that wall, Ian. He had no control, was heading towards that concrete wall, and he spins at the finish line. That might have been some suspension damage from that curb.
Or a D-bead.
I might be wrong in saying this, but I think I may be right. Bear with me. I think the curb, you know, it's slatted.
Yep.
I think it's slanted the opposite direction at that time.
Slanted the opposite direction.
So instead of hopping up over the curbs, you're actually hitting a dead stop.
Yeah.
And
Nigel Colfer hit it yesterday and snapped a camber arm on his car. It's
Wow.
that harsh. So
not enough for Kim Mathiasen there in qualifying, but it hopped his car. I think that spin at the end might have been caused by some damage done by hopping on the curb so violently.
So we move it back to the start line. We see Daniel Janota, a Czech driver, BMW 1 Series.
Yeah, we're getting closer to Jim Olafson's run too, so let's see if he's going to even try and get back out there for a second run. But Daniel Janota, the Czech Republic driver, having one of the wildest first runs I've ever seen in qualifying, and I've seen a few.
It was wild to say the least. 2 wheels on the dirt, full throttle.
Crazy stuff.
What are we going to see now from Daniel Janota as he fires that car in again? Very wide, drops wheels on initiation, but he gets out of it and he has to drop down. Oh, and a big wobble there from Janota, as he now starts to find his feet, and he's in the middle of the track now. Janota stands on accelerator, fulfills all of the outer zone, but slows the car massively, runs the wall.
That was 90 degrees to 90 degrees on the wall from Daniel Janota. Technically not perfect, but I think he's one of the most exciting drivers on the grid. Every time he comes out there, I get a little nervous, and then I'm always
what is going to happen.
But I'm always smiling at the end of the run-in. I'm always smiling because he just entertains me, and I think he entertains everybody here as well. Whether or not it's enough to go through the top 32, that would be the question.
So Daniel Ianota's score are waiting to be dropped in.
We await the scores, and it might be tight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to definitely be tight. I think the wheel drop could be a big problem. Yeah, at a 59.3, the wheel drop.
Not enough.
And
Not
just
enough. Unfortunate, because I love the run. I could watch him drive all day.
All day.
But unfortunately, we won't get to because he's not made it into the top 32. Moving on to Daniel Brandner from Austria, 27 years of age. Took the engine from his carbon fiber Mustang, put it in E46, as you do. And it's a Ford V8 BMW.
Yeah, as you do. Yeah, like you say, Dave, fires it in now. Daniel Brandner. Nice and high on that outer zone. Just drops out ever so slightly, but now gets in it and starts to make it work. This is good from Brandner so far. Can he fulfill that outer zone? He can. Just about drop wheels in it. And Daniel Brandner really...
Just a little bit offline there, Ian, towards the end. Washed a little wider than he would have liked to. And missed outer zone 4 also as well. So, you know, those white painted boxes on the track, you really want to be getting your front or rear wheels into whichever designated box. It's a front clip, we call it a front clip. When you want to get the front wheels into that clipping zone, and it's a rear clip, you want to get the rear wheels in. So missing that rear zone on outer zone 4. And you know, you got to be pretty brave to go to that one, because we've seen some big incidents there already today.
So as the score drops in for Brandy Brandner, it will be a 64 and leaves him in 34th position outside top 32, unfortunately. End of the weekend there for Brandy Brandner. We move it along. Matt Carter now. The Door Hunter, 2017 British Drift Champion.
Had a very good first run, but more potential for bigger things.
Yeah.
Because he made one mistake on it. If he wipes out that mistake, we could see a big score from Matt Carter here. And this car running 900 plus horsepower.
Yeah, as Carter fires in, look at this, very, very wide from Matt Carter, all the way to the edge of the circuit. This is nice from Carter, big angle transition now, as he gets back into it, fulfilling all of that outer zone 3. This is nice. Carter looks like he's got it to work. Oh, big wobble though as he comes into 4. Judge is going to be looking at this. Nice wall run. Oh, and slows the car massively, but just gets back into it, takes it over the line.
Got away with that one, Ian, towards the end of the run.
Very lucky.
Adjusted to go to outer zone 4, had to sort of, you know, dial out the angle on the car. It was an obvious mistake. Jim Olofsson, it looks like are they back somewhat? The car is somewhat back together. I'm not sure if it's going to make it in time, though. I don't think he's going to make this one.
No,
he's out for the next one. But, I mean, round of applause to his team there for even attempting to get that car back on the ground. But it's just not enough time, and I would have expected that from the off. You don't roll over twice on your roof, Ian, and get back out there for the second half of qualifying. So they look like they're taking tools away from that car, and it will be the end of the weekend for him. We await the score from Matt Carter as he finishes the second run. Not sure if it was, I mean, he got the outer zone, he didn't on the first run, but made some errors. So I think they're going to have a little deliberation.
He had to make quite a lot of adjustments to get to the outer zone. I think that's what the judges are talking about, the amount of adjustments. And the big slow coming into the outer zone 5. It's going to have hurt his score, but for me, Matt Carter will be happy to be inside top 32 if he can make it. And look at this, an 82 puts Matt Carter in 16th position, mid-pack.
Judges saying they liked his aggression through the first couple of sections, and even though he had a couple of wobbles, he got all of the outer zones, and that's what they're rewarding. Be a little bit smoother through the track, but if you're not in the outer zones, you get punished much greater. Next up, Tobias Puszczan.
Yeah, currently sits in 32nd place on the drop zone, so he needs to improve. Gets it out on that outer zone, stands on the accelerator. That
definitely pushing it, Ian.
V8 turbo under the bonnet of this BMW E30. Yeah, like you say, Dave, absolutely pushing it to the limit.
That last section, that transition is insane. You're transitioning at full speed, trying to slow down while on transition, and there's a big wall there.
And there's a wall,
and it's almost 90 degrees to 90 degrees in the way a lot of these drivers are approaching it. That ain't easy. That's a lot of spinning of the steering wheel in a very short amount of time, and you got to catch that again and make sure it's right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not easy, like you say.
I mean, we struggled with the rental car to get around here earlier on, Ian, and these guys are
And these guys are doing it sideways.
Yeah.
Over 100 miles an hour.
Incredible. We were at about 30 miles an hour in the rental car, and we were still scared.
And we were still scared.
So let's see what he scores as our judges drop those scores in. And you remember, these are the last runs these guys will do. So yeah, 24th position, jumps up the order, 76.7 for Tobias Puschan. A little bit of breathing room from 31st up to 24th. He'll be happy with that improvement.
Yeah, he will be very, very happy with that improvement as we go back to the start line. We will see Daniel Chewbacca. Daniel Chewbacca, big impact with the wall at round 2 in Hungary. Managed to get that car back together and looking smart as ever.
Yeah. And as I said before, it definitely has the most bling wheels on the grid. Especially in the sunlight here in Riga as he locks up to get that initiation going. And look at this, transitions back. Definitely not afraid of being aggressive, Ian, but just shy again of that outer zone. That's the brave area of the track. And if you get the line wrong from zone 1 to zone 2, that's where you suffer. And again, a little suffering towards the end here for Daniel. We're starting to see if you don't get the perfect run, it's not going to be good enough. And I think Daniel will have to have a little rethink about that one. Not as good as we saw him in previous competition, but you know what? It is such a difficult track.
It is such a difficult track, and you know what? Judge is saying that 60% of the score is made up on the correct line. So, you know, if you're off that line, your score is going to be so heavily penalised. But Daniel Chewbacca's score needs to drop in, and a 59.3. It won't be enough to see him in competition this afternoon. Unfortunately, the end of the weekend for him. We move it along to Ken Egved.
Yeah, Ken having some big impact with Connor Shanahan in the top 16 in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
In
Hungary,
Hungary, and again, it was just a melee of incidents. Right now, looking slick and clean though as he jumps into the first corner. Ken still finishing off his new car, which is a Corvette with an LS3 bi-turbo. We're going to see that later in the season, but this thing is sure good to go.
Yeah, looking good so far. Very, very wide, but fails to get out to that outer zone 3. And a big wobble, and
now...
now...
it's a big angle. Can he get it back? Oh, just about.
Almost. I thought he was going to run the front bumper along the
But
concrete
you're directly facing that wall. I mean, I've been watching the last couple of runs saying, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
You're on full angle, looking at the wall, and you've got to make that car all turn around to get back again. They certainly aren't making it easy for these guys here in Riga.
No, it's a lot of hard work.
Judges, evil judges.
Evil
judges. They can't hear us right now, but they're pretty evil. Putting out walls and 100-mile-an-hour entries, and you're not allowed to go on the apex, and you got to go to the outside of the track. But if you drop off the outside of the track, you might die, and it's just going to be tough all day.
Just hard work. 60.7 for Ken Egved's second run, 43rd position overall. He will not see competition today, and we move it along. Dariusz Fabiszak, Polish driver, sits on the line. 3UZ FE 650 horsepower S15.
Very colourful car.
Very, very colourful car.
I quite like this car. And you know what? He's been another one of those drivers very consistent in the championship so far, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, very consistent driver is what we find.
But the only thing is,
with Fabiszak,
you can be consistent, but I don't know if it's enough to be consistent today. I think you've got to be special. You've got to be spectacular is what you've got to be.
I think you just can't leave anything out there. You have to put everything on the line.
Yeah, and look at the speed he's entering this first corner at. Jabs on the handbrake, and look at that.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Just drops off that outer zone though, David. He's in the middle of the circuit again.
Yeah, has to reinitiate, go back on the handbrake, and you hear the supercharger screaming from under the bonnet here as he absolutely hammers the throttle. Tidies it up towards the end, but that's a big mistake on the first half of the course.
Yeah, and you know what? From there, it all kind of fell apart. No smoke, no angle, and yeah, on the middle of the inside edge of the circuit, not fulfilling that last outer zone.
I'm not sure that's going to be enough, Ian.
No, I don't.
I'm not too sure if that is going to be enough for the Polish driver. He has plenty of podiums to his name, but I'm not sure if Riga in 2018 is going to be one of them. As does he have enough from the first run, even, or I'm not sure. Let's see as the judges drop their scores in if it's enough. Again, you can be surprised here by some of the scores. It was consistent, it was steady.
Yeah, but there was a lot of mistakes, and yeah, look at that, 59. That puts him in 49th position.
Yeah, I mean, look, some big names dropping out here, Ian. I'm getting a little worried for everybody out there. But Benediktas Chirba was one man who put in a cracker of a first run.
Yeah, his first qualifying run was absolutely phenomenal. The Lithuanian now comes off the line.
Let's see how he gets on as he comes through the gears. A late initiation there, right to the edge of the circuit. This guy looking confident every single run.
And look how deep he goes into that outer zone 3 as well, on an absolutely perfect line now. Can he get to zone 4? He can. This guy absolutely flying this weekend as Chirba sticks it to the wall.
And the last moment transition, pushing it towards underneath that wood mat inflatable structure. You know what? I'm saying
he's an unknown one this weekend.
I'm taking a couple of euro out of the pocket and putting it on him in an each way bet as well. Looking very strong.
Yeah, looking very, very strong indeed. Can he improve on his first score? You know what? I don't think it had as much impact as his second score.
No, and again, I think if you look at the two scores back to back, I think this could be a big one. Ian, you might be selling them a little short here. I'm just thinking, oh, look at this, an 89.3 for Benedictus Chewbacca.
I sold him short, Dave. I sold him short.
Look, nobody's annoyed when you're wrong, Ian, because you're always wrong. Consistency is key.
Is a key, yeah.
And you're always wrong. That was an incredible run. Getting him right up into 5th position. Next up, Max Heidrich.
Yeah, Heidrich now jumps on the line. This guy really needs to pull it out of the bag. He looked so good in practice yesterday. Can he make it happen today? Now starts to put it together. Look at this from Heidrich. Nice and wide, big transition. Heidrich has found the pace again, out into the outer zone. Good transition back. Oh, but drops out of zone 4. Can he get onto the wall? He can. But that out of zone 4 is going to hurt his score, but it could be enough to find himself decently inside top 32.
I like the run.
I did.
Lots of commitment from Max Heidrich there, the German, and you know what? That's one thing you can never take away from Max Heidrich. He is max angle, max attack, and commitment, because he's hit walls, he's smashed into walls everywhere. He Drift Masters last year, Drift Masters this year, he's done some damage. Wall. He's gone through the wall at one point, but that's what you've got to do at this level, and I think he's not afraid to put it on doors. He's not, and I want to see him in the top 32. Let's hope that score is high enough.
So we await for the score to drop in for Max Heidrich. Like we say, needed to make it count. That second one, he definitely did that. Look at that, 78 for Max Heidrich, drops him into 22nd position.
He's as happy in the car as he is in that picture, Ian, because 22nd position will do just fine for a man struggling a little bit this weekend. Now, Michael Reichardt.
Yeah, Michael Reichardt comes off the line. The Czech driver, a 900 horsepower M50 turbo under the bonnet. Faint initiation, big flick into the outer zone, but it pushes him down off the circuit. Manages to find that wide line again. This is fast from Michael Reichardt.
Certainly no shortage of throttle here. Let's look at that, hammering the rev limiter in this car to get it around the track. And no, he's going to go very close to the wall.
Very wide.
Not sure he knew too much about that.
No, he backed out of that as well. He felt that.
He said, okay, we might get away with this one.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think he has just got away with that. Judges allowing a little bit of freedom of expression just between those last two outer zones. And Michael taking full advantage of that freedom by going running the wall later than we've seen anyone else in qualifying.
So Michael Reichardt's score drops in from our judges. Where will we see Michael Reichardt find himself up?
I think it's going to be a good score.
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive. He got
very fast.
Very fast, very fast. And yeah, 76.7, 27th position, gets him inside the bracket. It's not home and dry. It's not safety guaranteed, but it's a fighting chance.
Now, this guy needs to make it all happen right now. Maciek Jarkovic, big impact with the wall on his last practice run. Got it back out, but really, really needs to make it happen this afternoon. Can he find himself a place inside top 32?
Yeah, it's a feast or a famine here. He's got one run to get it done. Through the gears, cannot afford any more mistakes. Oh, he's got a little bit of understeer already, so...
Yeah, no, look, it's just not happening for him today for some reason.
If the judges could see it from the judging tower and not from the cameras, that would have been okay, because he came around the corner fine. But on the initiation area, he had a couple of wobbles, and a couple of wobbles here again as he almost drops off the circuit. But you know what? He's getting those outer zones, and he started clawing points back here.
Yeah, starting to gain a little bit back, but like you say, it's that initiation, really, that it's going to hurt his
sort of, you know, try to get the car to go drifting.
It's like it wouldn't, like he's got a handbrake issue potentially.
Yeah, maybe so.
So Maciek Jarkovic will put a scored run in. Where he will land, we don't know as of yet.
Yeah, will all that 700 horsepower count for a good score on the board? Our judges drop in those scores. It's a 53.7, so it's not enough.
It's outside, yeah.
Oh, Maciek, not enough to get into the top 32.
Right, on the line, Nigel Colfer.
He had a big run, 90.
He popped in a 90, and then James Dean come along and said, here's a 95. Now is Nigel Colfer going to come out and say, well, here's a 98?
What does a 98 look like?
Well,
maybe we're about to find out.
Well, he is absolutely flat right now as Nigel Colfer fires the Acorn Insurance 2 JZ 180SX. And look at Nigel Colfer. Full commitment from Colfer as he sends that car in, fulfilling all of these outer zones. Look at the very, very deep from Golfer.
Just a flex of the rear bumper on the wall there, as Nigel Coffer looks like a huge contender for today.
Unbelievable contender is Nigel Coffer right now as he gets it all the way out there.
You know what? He said he was suffering a little, I wouldn't say confidence issues in Hungary, just wasn't feeling the track out, he said himself.
He said to you, didn't he? He didn't feel the initiation, he just kind of...
And also, he had gearbox issues right from the off, so he was on the back foot.
He's still got a vibration problem with this car. This car violently shakes under full RPM.
Wow.
So you can imagine the car vibrating like a tumble dryer in the passenger seat while you try and put in a 90-something point run. Kenny Top, James Dean, the scores drop in.
It's an 89. But you know what, a 90 and an 89, on a, that's a confidence builder.
That is, yeah, I mean, wow.
Second position, looking comfortable, definitely into the battles. He can go in now and chill out in his crew and high five and just say, right, we're ready for later on today, we're ready to go.
Yeah, we move it along. Adam Zalewski comes off the line in 2017 Drift Masters European Championship.
Yes, sitting in the top 15 right now, so looking good.
Oh,
trying to improve. Look
nice
at that entry.
Initiation. Yeah, look at this from Zalewski all the way out to the edge of the circuit, Dave, and a good transition back. Zalewski bringing the intent. Oh, wow, Zalewski, the deepest we've seen so far into that outer zone 3.
This is a huge run in.
Zalewski bringing the intent right now, Dave, as he comes to the final zone and over the line. Wow!
What a run from Adam Zalewski, the youngster, 18 years of age, the current and defending Drift Masters European champion, and that showed exactly why he is a man not to count out of this championship. It may have to be a late charge, but after a run like that, Ian, I am impressed.
Yeah, very, very good score there from Adam Zalewski.
It's up there. It's got to be up there.
It's got to be up there. Can it top qualifying? Zalewski bringing it all out to play this afternoon at 92.
Oh, 92.
Adam Zalewski jumps into second position with a 92. And look at his face. He'll be smiling like that in the car right now, that's for sure. We keep it going with the action as we see the Latvian Ivo Sarulis on the line. This guy come out and put it all on the line, and his first qualifying
He was very impressive on his first run.
Very, very impressive. Can he top it? Well, he has nothing to hold back. All he can do is improve as he fires this E46 BMW all the way to the edge of the circuit.
Look at that line!
Look at this! Ivo Sarulis keeping the car just about on circuit. Perfect line from Sarulis. Not as deep as Zalewski in the outer zone 3. But Ivo Sarulis now...
that's good, Ian. That's very good.
Unbelievable. Puts it to the wall, stands on the accelerator and gets it into outer zone 6 and over the line.
I don't know.
Tags the wall across the line.
Exclamation point. That's what that was. Ivo Sarulis. And of course, he said, oh, sorry, we're in Latvia. My mistake. I better go out there and be unbelievable.
I better do something.
Yeah, I better go out there and be unbelievable because people came to see me here today.
My family is here.
I thought, that was it was scarily perfect at times.
It's very good from Ivo Sarulis right there. The initiation kept the rear wheel in that outer zone the full way round. Looking good. These guys really stepping up to the mark now.
I would not be surprised to see that going right up to the top.
Well, yeah. Listen, what's it going to be as the score drops in for Ivo Sarulis?
91.7. And with the scale of competition we have here, with the level of driving to hit third with a 91, Ivo Sarulis, hometown hero, doing the job there. Incredible. Moving it on. Christoph Romanowski, Polish driver. Well, we've just seen, the Latvians come out here. What can the Polish do? Zalewski sitting up there in second position. Romanowski coming in hot as well.
Yeah, Romanowski really putting it all out there now as he starts to get on that perfect line. Can he fulfill these outer zones? He misses outer zone 3. That's going to hurt his score massively, but gets it back online. Fulfills 4.
Nice wall run.
Very nice wall run from Romanowski.
Lighting up those extreme tires. I mean, these guys have been testing these tires all year for extreme and saying they're dialing in the perfect compounds.
Yeah.
And those E30 BMWs. Okay, yes, they have got huge crate LSX V8s.
Just 600 horsepower motors under the one.
Just naturally aspirated. But those tires seem to be a big difference maker as well.
Yeah.
Lots of grip. They are fast.
Yeah, very,
but
very
the
fast.
score comes in from the judges, and 83. Consistency is key for Romanowski. 15 positions where he stays. Should be safe there, Ian. Should be safe.
Yeah, should be very, very safe as we move it along to Paweł Trela. Paweł Trela, the two-time Polish drift champion, sits in that Opel GT with a 2JZ under the bonnet. What can he do?
Actually comes from a rally driving background.
And Trela sits in 13th place, so Trela looking comfortable right now. going to be looking to take the top spot as he fires that car in. Look, fulfilling that outer zone completely all the way. Estrella to the outer zone now as he transitions back, wheels up on the curb, gets into it, gets nice and deep into outer zone 3. Now Trella looking very comfortable.
Full throttle the whole way through the track, and onto the wall he goes, just rubbing those end plates. And this is a big run. Pavel Trella's back in the game, back at his best. I was just looking at his initiation, one of the few drivers not to weight transfer, and then I realized he has no weight to transfer.
No weight.
He has no weight to transfer. The car is sub 1,000 kilograms for sure, even maybe around about 900 kilograms,
yeah.
with a crazy amount of 800. He's almost the same weight and power in figures. Crazy.
Crazy. And look at this, an 87.3 puts Pavel Trella into 8th position. Scores really creeping up inside that top 10 now, Dave.
It's going to take a big score to be safe here today.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible. We knew this coming here. Now look at this, Steve Baggsy Biagioni hasn't had a first run.
No.
Has a mechanical issue in the first run. The UK driver bred this LSX or 600 horsepower PS13 representing Monster Energy. He has to do it all here in 40 seconds, Ian, and a guy you know very well, he's going to be under severe pressure here.
Yeah, a lot of pressure right now sits on Steve Baggsy Biagioni. Shoulders a 0 in his first run. The car shutting down after the line. Needs to make it happen on this second qualifying run. And what has Baggsy got as he just drafts in some air, slams the door shut, bangs it in gear. As Baggsy comes off the line now, can he make it happen this time, or will the car cut out again? Looks like we're good to go this time for Baggsy. Absolutely lit as he fires it in. Nice and deep into the outer zone. This is good from Baggsy. Knows he needs a big score. Good transition back. Wheels up on the curb. He's on the inside though, Dave. This is going to hurt his score. He completely misses outer zone 3. Big angle transition back. That's going to hurt his transition onto 4, and it does.
Just a little wayward through that center section there. Good to see the car though in good working order and showing its potential. But potential doesn't get you into the top 32. And there was a couple of mistakes there along the way, but he's had very little practice yesterday and today.
Yeah, I mean, he's had, I think, overall 4 runs all weekend. So for Steve Baggsy Biagioni, desperate to find himself inside top 32 to keep his weekend dreams alive. Has he done enough though, with scores being so high? As the score drops in for Baggsy, it will be a 64.3, and he doesn't qualify. Baggsy falls out of the top 32, finds himself outside of competition.
Yeah, and of course, a very difficult thing to switch cars mid-season, try and get a new car working. You know, you're not doing this in the off-season, you're doing it right in the middle of the season on difficult tracks, so you can understand the difficulty those guys are having. Joe Hotunji now takes to the line, one of the Red Bull Drift brothers. He's been looking super strong.
Yeah, very, very strong. It's Joe Hotunji right now, the champion of King of Europe 2017, fires in this hybrid of a drift car and stands on the accelerator as he looks to hunt down outer zone 4, gets there nice and
has
early.
to be said, the Red Bull Drift brothers have been in the game since the start of the year, and right now looking just as comfortable here in Riga, a track they would not have a huge amount of experience on, and they are looking comfortable. It goes to show the level of talent between both of those brothers.
Yeah, very, very good stuff from those guys.
Alan, again, it's sort of a very technical style.
Yeah.
And I think it works well from a judging perspective here, because it's very easy to see that their intent is to get the car into all those zones. It's not just to go where the car goes.
Exactly. So
let's see how Joe Hotunji does. 72.3, not enough to beat it. His first run was a spectacular run.
Yeah.
So he stays in 11th position, but I think he's very comfortable there. 11th will do on a stack grid like this. You know, you can't win qualifying, you only win the battles later on today. So just getting into that top 32 is priority right now. Kajetan Rutnia taking that old school Mercedes-Benz into that first corner at upwards of 95 miles an hour. And look at this thing go.
yeah, absolutely firing through is Kajetan Rutnia right now. Gets on the inside though, David. It's going to sacrifice 3, which is going to upset his line as he comes into 4. Yeah, look, puts him in the middle of the circuit. Just drops the wheels on the outside of it, but work to be done, and not the cleanest run we've seen from Kajetan Rutnia right now as he goes over the line.
No, and again, I think
pressure. If anything right now is pressure.
Yeah, because you know it's got to be a spectacular run. I mean, you know, any other drift competition, you know, a reasonably good run.
He's going to find you inside top 32.
You get in there. And in big competitions across the world, just getting a run even is enough to get you into battle action. Here, over 50% of the grid do not get into the battles at all.
No.
I mean, that's ridiculous pressure for a driver, especially with the travel you've done, especially with the harshness of the conditions here, the heat, the track being such a full throttle track, so hard on the engines, the drivetrains. I mean, I'm glad I'm up here watching rather than down there. It is a stressful time, but if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. You got to deal with these conditions. You got to deal with the pressure. You got to go out there and get it done. And see there, look, Keiten Ruutina sitting in 29th position, just crept inside the top 32.
Yeah, 76 judges liking what they see on the second one, and yeah, making it count.
Yannis Kalite is our next driver from Latvia. He's a 4-time Latvian champion, 2-time Baltic champion, and he's an Eastern European champion. He's a champion of a lot of things, Ian.
He's a champion of champions.
But this is the Champions League of Champions, and let's see how he gets on here. He's a local boy, and he is firing into that first corner. Could have been a little bit wider on the outer zone.
Yeah, just didn't stay into that outer zone as much as what we'd like to have seen, but he fulfills all of that outer zone 3 as he transitions back. Now, he should be on a very good line into 4. Yeah, and he is. Look at this. As Yannis Kalite gets to the wall nice and early. Oh, over-rotates.
I don't believe it. I was just about to say this could be a contender, and he spins out in the last section. First time we've seen a spin there today, am I right?
First spin all day.
Really?
First spin all day. We haven't seen one spin.
We've watched that much drifting and haven't seen a spin.
Not one spin.
Oh, he spun at the line.
Oh,
remember?
yeah. That was
Kim Mathiasen? Yeah, so
does that count?
2 spins out of 140-something runs maybe today?
That's serious.
But, of course, if you got an 87.3 on the first run, it's not the end of the world.
Listen, you can put it all out there to play and see how it goes. We move it back to the line. Andreas Vasiliauskas, the 27-year-old Lithuanian.
Andreas Vasiliauskas in a backup car. Of course, most of our backup cars do not look like this, but this is an 800 horsepower backup car.
Nor do they have 800 horsepower.
This might be down a little from 800 horsepower, but it especially has enough horsepower to get through the circuit. And missing that outer zone 1 though, and not the perfect solution for Andreas. He said he's not as comfortable in this car. It's more of a fun car than a competition car. So yeah, look at this middle of the track there. Not what the judges are looking for, and early away from that last zone. Just almost off the entire line for the second half of the course.
Yeah, scrappy run there on his second run. Not the usual Andreas Vasiliauskas that we're used to seeing.
Well, let's see what his score is.
As we await the score to drop in.
So Andreas Vasiliauskas will await his score from the judges. And you know what? For a backup car,
it's not a bad backup car.
He's gone out there and thrown it in, but yeah, it's not enough. And I think he'll know that himself.
Yeah.
I think he'll know I missed a couple of clipping zones. I wasn't exactly where the judges wanted me to be, and unfortunately, it's gonna hurt his chances in the championship a little bit, Ian, because not having the car here this weekend is gonna hurt him, in the long run. Sebastian Fonten from Holland, our next driver, coming slamming through the gears. That 2JZ. Look at that initiation, snappy, but just too early.
Yeah, Sebastian Fontaine fires on it, gets into it nice and early. Can he fulfill the outer zone? He does make it out to outer zone 3. He's on a very good line now for 4. And this looks like a better run from Fontaine from his first one. Stays fully committed as he comes through the last 2 turns.
You know what? It's fast.
Very fast.
He hit most of the zones.
Technically correct.
Technically okay. Not perfect.
No.
He looked like he was struggling a little bit to adjust the car to some of those zones, but the most important thing is you get there and you put a score on the board. And Sebastian, he said he's having an interesting season so far. He said it's not, it's a big step up and challenge for him. Is it enough to get him into the top 32? Look at that. It's just about 32nd position for Sebastian Fonten.
And 72 being the marker for 32nd position.
That is a high
just
score.
goes to show you how high they are. We move it along. Eli Hutunji now sits on the line. His brother sitting higher than him. Sitting in 11th position. Can Eli put it together and make it work? Yeah, he sits in 24th. He needs to really climb up the order to make life easier for himself.
But he's kind of done this all season. He's kind of come alive in the
drops
battles.
in low and then really comes alive. Yeah, he's off the line right now. Eli Hutunji, Red Bull Drift Brothers, making their way down as he fires the car in. Gets into it nice and early. Very wide is Eli Hutunji now as he transitions back, gets into outer zone 2. Nice and early. Fulfills all of outer zone 3. This is the Eli Hutunji we like to see. Gets it on line nice and early into 4 and 5.
Solid run.
Very solid run there.
Again, you can see the style of both Otunji brothers, that they just have that consistency. You know what? You can look across a sea of drivers in a driver briefing, and you'll always see four eyes most focused.
Switched on, yeah.
And that is the two Red Bull Drift brothers. They love that technical side. Maybe it's a German thing.
Yeah.
You know, attention to detail.
Attention to detail, yeah.
Efficiency. But those runs are getting them into a high place in the championship right now, and that is exactly what they want to do, is go into this third round and start doing some damage, and it starts putting you on a run for the end of the season. When you get to those last two rounds in Germany and Ireland, you've got a chance. Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anything can happen. The score drops in through Eli Hatonji. What is it going to be? And an 84 for Eli Hutanji drops him into 14th position, not far behind his brother. He'll be happy with that as he moves on into top 32. We go back to the line. It will be Pavel Korpelinski.
Yeah, and had a very good first run. He is a driver that has impressed me all season. Definitely a future
Look
star.
at that, 12th position with an 86.7. Korpelinski.
Weight off his shoulders.
What's he going to do?
He can freestyle this and see what happens.
Yeah, he really can now kind of come alive.
Look at the line from Korpelinski.
He almost fell off circuit right then, did Korpelinski. This is going to put him on a good line. He's nice and deep into the outer zones. Can he get deep into 4? Look, yeah, absolutely
and look
perfect.
how fluid
Fast.
it is.
Nice smoke, good angle. As Korpelinski takes it across the line.
I don't know.
Korpelinski.
I don't know. That could be.
Wow.
He qualified very high in Hungary.
Very high in Hungary.
Very high. Let's see what he does here. He's a championship contender for me right now.
So we await the score for Pavel Korpelinski to drop him.
I think it's up there.
I think it's way up there.
I think it's
way up. I think
up.
it's the top 5.
I think it's going to be huge.
You think it's going to be bigger than first place?
I don't want to call it just yet.
Oh,
no.
wow.
91.7. 4th position for Pavel Korpelinski.
Well, I wasn't far wrong. I said it was the top 5, and it most certainly was.
Yeah, and not far wrong is an improvement for you, Ian.
Exactly. As we move it along, Torani Kavir comes off the line. Kavir sits in 11th place with an 87. Now Kavir.
Time to drop the hammer.
Nothing to lose, fires it in. Nice angle, fulfills the outer zone, and another guy all the way to the edge of the circuit. As Torani Kavir absolutely gets into it, just doesn't fulfill all of that outer zone 3. And it's gonna hurt his line onto 4. Yeah, this is.
Oh, look at the angle! That angle was insane!
Kavir absolutely firing it in backwards onto the wall.
Did you see that angle on the wall?
It's.
He actually rubbed the wall with the rear left instead of the rear right. That was incredible.
So very good run there for Torani Kavir. Just not sure if technically it was an improvement. The impact and style was phenomenal, but
there's two kinds of impact in this game, Ian.
There's one with a wall.
There's one with a wall, and there's one with just style.
Yep.
The style is the one you want.
Yep.
And that's what he had. I think that's another big. Judges are having a tough time now.
They are having a very tough. Look at this, 2 consistent scores. He stays where he is, though. No improvement on his first score of an 87, so he stays in 11th place. We keep going. Jack Shanahan now sits on the line. This guy has a whole host of work to do.
Yeah, he needs a big run here, Jack Shannon. You know, he's a British drift champion, 2-time, 1-time Irish champion, representing Riga engine management and Tri-Ace tires, but he has got to put a run on the board here.
Yeah, he needs to put a big score on the board right now as he fires that car in, gets nice and higher on the back. This is nice.
Wow.
Shanahan bringing him to the party as he transitions down into 2 now. But still doesn't manage to get to 3. Oh, he does, completely fulfills all of outer zone 3. This is more like the Jack Shanahan we're used to seeing as he gets into the wall, stands on the accelerator and takes it all the way through the line.
That is a big run under pressure from Jack Shanahan. That might just be enough to secure his safety, Ian. It was touch and go.
Very touch and go for Jack Shanahan.
I started to think, was he going off the track, but just those rear wheels held. Impressive, impressive stuff. And Jack Shannon will wait his scores from the judges. You know, we used to see him right up there in the top from where we're from, Ian, in Ireland and the UK.
Yeah.
But out here in Europe, he's had a tough time the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, he hasn't had it easy, that's for sure. So we'll wait to find out if Jack Shanahan.
And will it be enough to go challenge right up towards the top of the leaderboard from Jack Shanahan? 88.7 for Jack Shanahan. Puts him into 9th position. Imagine, an 88.7 is only 9th
He's only
position.
9th.
Wow, well, we said it was the Champions League of drifting, and it's starting to prove that point now.
Definitely that.
Karkoshik is the next driver on the line.
Yeah, David Karkoshik comes off the line. RB25 under the bonnet.
And
this
a lunatic behind the wheel, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolute crazy man behind the wheel. As David Karkoshik now starts to navigate his way around, fails to fulfill out all of that out of zone 3, but claws it back online. Starts to get into it. Does Karkoshik now as he comes around the final turn.
Smooth finish in.
Yeah, very, very fluid run there from Karkoshik. Looked very natural.
And of course, the man who said car not so good
Yeah,
on Friday. A lot of issues in practice, misfires, car wouldn't have hold boost.
No.
Looks like that thing is absolutely roaring right now.
So we await the score to drop in for David Karkoshik.
Yeah, the grandstand's starting to fill up a little bit here in Riga as we are early in the day. Let's see what David Karkoshik puts on the board. It is an 83.7, almost identical
Almost
to
identical.
us. That is what you call consistency. He's got a run dialed in there, and that's what it tells me.
Yeah, listen, he's got the line dialed. Now on the line, this guy, Enver Haskasap, the Cypriot, he was looking very, very strong in practice.
But he had a bad first run.
Now, and he, you know, he's going to want to climb up the order as he fires that S14 in.
Drops two
he
wheels.
does. Drops way down.
I think he's dropped 2 wheels on the inside of the circuit there, Ian.
So could this be a 0 from the get-go? Judges looking at each other already as Enver Haskasap fires that car into outer zone 5.
Yeah, one of the guys we were pipping to right up there towards the podium, and right now it looked like he may have dropped 2 wheels on the inside of the circuit. I don't know if judges are going to see that the exact same way, but judging by previous runs, Ian, that's the way they've kind of leaned.
Yeah. Not good right now for Enver Haskasap if that is the situation, but scores are dropping from our judges. And a 0, 2 wheels off circuit.
Wow. He was a big contender, a lot of points on the board. He'll be very disappointed with that one, Ian.
He
just
looks so
didn't look
strong.
comfortable there. Just didn't look comfortable whatsoever, and surprisingly so. Bartosz Stolarski is our next driver, 35 years of age, over 50 times on the podium during a 12-year career, 1,100 horsepower, and throwing it in hot.
Yeah, coming in hot is the OG to Polish drifting, very, very wide line. Transitions back, gets it nicely into that outer zone 2. Another driver failing to fulfill all of that outer zone 3. It hurts the line coming into 4 for the rest of the circuit. Manages to make it work, but almost over rotates, finds himself nearly on the wrong side of the circuit. Does Bartosz Stolarski.
You know what? And he's another guy that comes alive in the battles, Ian.
Yeah.
When it gets to those battles, that experience counts, and just getting through this qualifying session for a lot of these guys is the biggest task of the weekend. Because then you're one-on-one, then you're 50-50. This is the toughest part because you're up against 70, and you're up against yourself.
Yeah.
When you've got something to aim for, sometimes it can be a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
And we get to see these guys go at 100 miles an hour, inches from each other later on today. 3 o'clock onwards, wow.
Scary stuff. A 79.3 on his second run, so Bartosz Stolarski stays where he is in 21st position. We go back to the line to this guy, Juha Poitalaksko, the Finnish champion and European Drift GP champion. 2017 slams the door on the E92.
Aggressive, he wants it.
Very aggressive. Found himself on the podium
in Hungary.
Can he recreate that? Smashing through the gears as Poitalaksko fires the car in. Gets nice and high on the outer zone.
He is just hammering.
Absolutely hammering is Poitalaksko right now. Sends the car nice and deep into 3 and 4. Transitions nice onto the wall as Poitalaksko comes with a point to prove as he takes it over the line. And Juha Poitalaksko, Finnish driver, looking to...
I don't know how an engine that takes that much abuse.
That's why he has 2 cars.
That's why he brings 2 cars to the event, because
he even knows.
He brings death to engines, but that was insane to watch. Great run from Juha Poitalaksko.
So Poitalaksko going to be looking to improve on that score. Judges inputting their scores
it's going to be a big
into
score.
the systems.
I'm 100% sure of that. 86.3.
It is a big score, but only puts him in 14th position.
How is 86.3 a 14th position?
It's a thing now.
The standard is insane.
Right, on the line, your guy, Pavel Borkowski.
Yeah, and I mean, he's got a big run in him here. He's always got a big run in him. And he's going to
He always saves it to the second run.
Yes. Caution to the wind here. Early initiation, and look at that line.
Oh, wow, almost drops a wheel, completely fulfills the outer zone. And
you can be telling right in his head now he's aiming for James Dean, but a waiver
starts
there.
to fall off it. Yeah, big waiver, falls off of it and has to work to get out to the outer zone 4. Starts to make it work again for himself, gets on the wall nice and early.
Can we just take a moment to realise how cool this track is?
Oh,
Because the
so
first
cool.
2 corners are enough for any layout, and then you get that bump and 90 to 90 transition onto
And then
the wall.
there's 2 wall runs.
And there's 2 wall runs just throw in at the end. It's like a bonus round. Incredible stuff there from Paweł Borkowski. I'm impressed with that kid all the way through the season. Had some mechanical gremlins, but look how high he is in the championship.
Very, very high in the championship. Now, as the scores drop in, Paweł Borkowski stays where he is.
But he's consistent, he's comfortable.
Very consistent.
Look at that, 83 and an 84, 16th position, right in the
Mid-pack,
middle.
yeah.
Right in the middle. And now we head on to our top 3 drivers in the championship, Ian.
Yeah.
Grzegorz Hipki will be the first to take to the course. He's trying to do damage and stay in the championship hunt. Polish driver took the win at round 2. But can he continue that run of form here?
Yeah, it fires it in nice and high. Almost dropping wheels, but drops off of line. Oh, drops the wheel over the curb now. It's upset his line massively. As Grzegorz Hipki starts to get back into it. Oh, it's very deep into outer zone 4. He's on the wall. This is wild right now for Grzegorz Hipki. And the crowd applauding the wildness.
He has a big following.
A very big following.
He's a bit of a hero in Poland, and I can see why. Lovely guy, you know, really fun guy to be around. No fear whatsoever, and his driving ability is second to none.
But has he got enough in him to improve on that score? As we wait for Grzegorz Hipki's score to fall in.
And Grzegorz Hipki,
judges
have, having
judges.
a little bit of a chat here.
Yeah,
and
deliberation.
That means it's either going to be a very, very high score
or
lower than we
surprise,
think.
yeah,
you can see Kevin O'Connell looking pensive there. Pensive. With a pen. It was
With
a
a
pun.
pen.
You didn't get that in, but it's
No,
okay. It's been
fine.
a long qualifying session. We are going to wait for the score for Grzegorz Hipki. Let's see if he can get himself into the mix. And it's a statement too. Okay, so let's imagine he tops qualifying here. What sort of a statement would that be?
Listen, if he wins at round 2,
Let's see
he
what he's
tops
got.
qualifying. Can he do it?
Oh,
Whoa!
Almost. So close. 94.7 for Grzegorz Hipki. And you know what? There's a lot of fans around the world who might never have heard this guy 4 months ago. He's a star now.
Yeah, now that's a big statement to James Dean as we see Conor Shanahan step up to the line.
And Conor Shanahan is worried about qualifying here, not so much worried about topping qualifying, because he's in the mid-pack here. He's got to improve on his first run a little bit.
Yeah, as Conor Shanahan fires it in, needs to stay nice and high on that
He
outer
came in
zone.
very fast there,
Yeah,
Ian. That
this
was
is
almost
quick.
faster than he was comfortable with.
This is looking good for Shanahan right now. Can he fulfill all these outer zones? He gets into 3, but not as deep as some of the other guys. He's into 4. This is better than his first one, Dave, so it's definitely going to be an improvement.
Yeah, I think that's enough to get him into the battles and stay in the championship hunt. And that was, I just looked uncomfortable the way through that car. And he almost clutch kicked it in. And that's brave. And you can tell he was suffering a little bit with power issues there, and he had to be brave. And you know what? When you're 15, it's easy.
Yeah,
Because the whole world is a PlayStation to him. So he came in there absolutely crazy fast. Very technical run, very smooth, very fluid. I think the judges are going to reward him for that. Should take the pressure off the youngster who sits second in the championship.
Wow.
And remember, the winner of this championship gets a scholarship to Formula Drift. He can't even compete in Formula Drift for another 3 years because of an age restriction. So there you go. That's how young this guy is.
That's how young he is, yeah. So we await.
So it's going to be a big score. I think it's going to be maybe top 10. Let's see where Conor Shanahan lands. Into 6th position with a 90.3. That's the way to get yourself out of trouble. An 82 and a 90. This kid is just tearing up Europe right now.
Yeah, he's doing a very, very good job of it so far, but one guy sits on the line left to go.
So he's a guaranteed top qualifier. He's only got to beat himself. We've seen James Dean go up against James Dean in qualifying quite a few times, but usually James Dean comes out on top.
As James Dean, the machine, fires that teal and blue Falcon Tyre S14 Budmat Worthhouse sponsored driver, as James Dean absolutely flying right now. nice and deep into outer zone 4, slows the car down, gets on the wall nice and early, big wall run from James Dean, stands on the accelerator, powers across the
Little
line.
tag at the wall. One of the mechanics to have something to do for the next couple of hours.
Something to do.
Because that car is on form. I think James Dean is again proving a point. That's another huge qualifying run.
Very, very good run.
Might even improve on his first. He is still the man to beat, currently winning the Formula Drift Championship in the USA, and currently points leading this championship, the Drift Masters European Championship. And it looks like to me he goes into the battles later today as our highest qualifier, guaranteed, and the guy to beat once again here in Riga. And I am just looking so. I want to go straight to the ballots now. I want to let's just send them straight away. But we wait for the score for James Dean. He's our final driver in the qualifying session. It's been plenty of thrills and spills from the start, and even some rollovers and some explosions, and there you have it.
A 93 on his second run.
So a 95.7 from his first run, enough to top qualifying. We'll get a quick look at the leaderboard of the drivers that have made it into that top 32. And Ian, it's going to be... So what we're going to do now is just show the highest qualifying runs. So if you want to see what the highest qualifying run was and why it got a 95.7, we can get a little quick look at James's first run to show you exactly how this track almost was done completely perfectly.
Yeah, look at this. Fires it in nice and high. Look at that, almost dropping the wheel over. You can see the car waver as he stays completely into that first outer zone. Nice transition. Just drops that front zone through the middle of the car, and then look at this, nice and wide through 4.
But it's also the angle he's carrying through the course. Ian's
Good
so
speed
comfortable
as well. Look how fast he is as he transitions through into 6 and over the line.
That was your highest qualifying run of this qualifying session. We'll have a look at the 32 drivers that have made it out of 72 to be in the mix. There you have it. James Dean tops the proceedings with a 95.7. Grzegorz Hipki with a 94.7. Adam Zalewski, the Polish driver, at 92. Ivo Cerulis, highest of the Latvian drivers, at 91.7. Fifth for Pavel Korpelinski. Sixth, Conor Shannon, second in the championship points. Seventh, return to form for Nigel Colfer with a 90. Harald Valme, the Estonian, big surprise entry in this round and a big contender in 8th. 9th for Benediktas Chirba. And it is going to be 10th, Jack Shanahan, the current Irish champion, in 10th position right now with an 88.7. Pavel Trela back to form again, 11th position for the Polish driver, 87.3. Yanis Iglite, watch him in the battles, the Latvian local, 87.3. From Norway, Tor Arne Kavia gets an 87. 14th for the first of the Red Bull Drift brothers, Joe Hutunji, the German, at an 86.7. Juha Poitalaxo from Finland is in 15th. 16th for Mikael Norman Tuts, the Estonian. 17th position for Pavel Borkowski. 18th position for Eli Hutunji. 19th position for David Karkoshik. 10th for Krzysztof Romanovski with an 83. 21st position for Matt Carter from the UK. 22nd for Bartosz Stolarski. 23rd for Mikael Overgaard. 24th for Max Heidrich. 25th for Jimmy Hansen. 6th for Tobias Puszchan. 27th for Michael Reichardt. 28th, Dennis Hansen. We got the two Hansen brothers in the top 32 for the first time. 29th position for Kajetan Rutina in the old school Mercedes. 30th position for Ingup Jakobsen. And rounding out our top 32 is Christian Erlendsson from Sweden and Sebastian Fonten creeping in 32nd position. And notably, look at that, two Formula Drift, ex-Formula Drift drivers and current Formula Drift drivers, Kristaps Blues and Juha Rintanen, not making it into our top 32. Well, that to me has been one of the craziest qualifying sessions I've watched in a very long time. We had cars on the roofs, we had explosions, we had engines, we had diffs, we've had mechanical failures, but we've also had some sensational runs leading us up to an incredible top 32 at 3:30 p.m. today. I need to take a moment, Ian.
Yeah.
You need to take a moment.
We
need to relax. We need to just sit down in a corner and take a breath because we're going to be joining you guys for all of the action. That was the boring part of the show. We go to the full action in half 3 today, where it is going to be sensational door-on-door action where these guys go head-to-head to see who will become the 2018 King of Riga. We're back soon with more action from the Drift Masters European Championship. From me and Ian, we'll catch up with you soon.